In a sterile hospital room, an IV drips with a steady, unnerving rhythm. Nearby, a heart monitor displays a grim, unwavering flatline. A young man lies motionless in the bed, seemingly lost to the world. But then, a single flower petal drifts down onto his face, and his eyes snap open in sheer shock. He lurches upright, gasping for air in a desperate panic. Frantically looking around the unfamiliar room, he cries out, "Where am I?" The impossible truth dawns on him. I've been reborn? But his shock is immediately replaced by a new dawning horror. He rips the sheets away to find his legs are gone, letting out a scream of pure anguish. My legs! Drenched in a cold sweat, he clutches the bedding, his mind racing to grasp the situation. Damn, what time is it now? A young woman stands before him, and in his daze he can only mutter, "Brother?" Tears of pure joy stream down her face as she cries out, "You're finally awake!" She lunges forward, throwing her arms around him in a desperate, relieved hug. Clinging to him, she makes a tearful vow, "Brother, I'll catch the hit-and-run driver who did this, and your legs, they'll be cured." But as he holds her, his expression shifts. He's not relieved, he's calculating. It really is 1 year ago. His mind flashes back to the brutal impact of the car accident that started it all. The crash that took him from being Mr. Shen, the youngest billionaire chairman of the Rising Sun International Group, and reduced him to a cripple. Back in the present, his sister Shen Qing explains she's been focused on his treatment, but a different name surfaces in his memory, spoken with a chilling, newfound purpose. Tiankai. He remembers the man he once called his most trusted brother, Xiao Tiankai. But this snake used Mr. Shen's accident to seize control of his company and blackmail his sister into marriage. He offered her a sickening deal. Marry him and he'd guarantee her brother's future. A helpless Mr. Shen could only scream for him to let her go. But Tiankai just mocked him from above, asking what he was barking about. He cruelly forces himself on Shen Qing, sneering that he doesn't understand dog barks. All she could do was cry out for the brother who couldn't save her. In that moment, Mr. Shen lost everything to that monster. But then a new hope emerged. A globally sensational VR game called Divine Path, where in-game currency could be exchanged for real money. This game had one revolutionary feature. Character attributes could directly affect the real world. It should have been Mr. Shen's chance to change his fate, but in his previous life he was left penniless and broken. Without money to buy resources, he was crushed by powerful enemies doomed to mediocrity. He was powerless to compete, losing everything in the game. While that bastard Xiao Tiankai used Mr. Shen's stolen wealth to buy the best resources, elevating himself to an unrivaled height in both the game and reality. All that power and all that glory should have belonged to him. And with this second chance, he roars to the heavens, "It belongs to me!" The scene cuts and we see the man himself, Xiao Tiankai, looking as smug as ever, mocking someone for calling him to a broken doghouse. But his target calmly replies, "You don't really think so." Because as the camera pulls back, we see the room is rigged with explosives, yet Tiankai doesn't even flinch, taunting his captor. "Do you really think this can kill me?" The bomber gets right in his face, screaming, "Let's try it then, you scum!" With a final roar of defiance, the bomber slams his thumb on the detonator, screaming, "You and I can die together!" The entire building erupts in a cataclysmic explosion. Amidst the smoldering wreckage lies the bomber, his body broken and bleeding. But a smug voice cuts through the smoke as Xiao Tiankai winks, completely unharmed. "Why bother, buddy?" His eyes flare with an intense golden light. He stands untouched in the inferno, revealing the source of his invincibility. "With the power I've gained in Divine Path, your explosives can't even singe a hair on me." Leaning over his dying victim, Tiankai prepares to deliver the final, soul-crushing blow. With a twisted smile, he confesses to unspeakable evil, "Your legs and your parents' deaths, it was all my doing." And the funny thing is, the last bloodline of the Shen family will bear my surname. The bomber can only choke out his final words of hatred and regret, and as the life fades from his enemy's eyes, Xiao Tiankai calmly walks away from the devastation, a true monster in human skin. But Mr. Shen refuses to give up, recognizing his rebirth as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Putting on a brave face for his sister, Shen Qing, he gently tells her to stop crying. As she wipes away her tears, he makes a silent vow. This time, he will protect his sister and everything their parents built. And with eyes glowing with fury, he swears to tear that beast Xiao Tiankai to pieces. But the grim reality of his situation sinks in, and he wonders how a disabled man can possibly turn things around. Then, a memory sparks. The game, Divine Path, which is just launching and whose reality-bending secret is still unknown to the public. As Shen Qing worries that his legs are hurting, Mr. Shen realizes he must act immediately before his assets are frozen. She gets up to call a doctor, but he quickly stops her, telling her he has an urgent task for her. "What is it?" she asks, confused. With burning intensity, Mr. Shen reveals the first step of his master plan. "Help me buy a Divine Path gaming pod." A gaming pod? Shensing repeats, completely bewildered. The request triggers a memory of the traitorous Xiao Tiankai, questioning his sudden interest in gaming. In the flashback, Xiao feigns concern, asking what will happen to the company if he gets addicted. Back in the present, Mr. Shen's eyes narrow. He sees right through the memory, realizing Xiao was already testing him back then. He puts on a mask of despair, telling them, "I'm just a cripple now, what else can I do besides play games?" Xiao Tiankai tries to dissuade him, pointing out the limited supply and the exorbitant 300 million price tag, subtly questioning if Mr. Shen can even afford it. But Mr. Shen's resolve is absolute. Even if it costs 30 billion, he snarls, "I'll get one." As Shenqing begs him to calm down, Xiao Tiankai smoothly interjects, promising he'll handle it. But his inner thoughts reveal his true sinister motive. "Good. While you're distracted, I'll take your company." He pats Shenqing on the shoulder, telling Mr. Shen to relax while he handles the business, leading the worried sister away. But as Xiao Tiankai reaches for Shenqing, Mr. Shen lunges forward, grabbing his arm with surprising strength. He's haunted by a vision of what Xiao Tiankai truly wants, a future where the villain possessively declares, "Little Tong can stay here tonight. I want her to spend more time with me." And Mr. Shen's response is pure ice. "You want to touch my sister with your filthy hands, over my dead body." Stunned by this sudden ferocity, Xiao Tiankai nervously backs down. He quickly makes his exit. But once he's alone, his true face emerges, seething with rage at his own hired help. "Useless killer. How did you not kill this bastard in that accident?" He vows that next time he won't fail, even if he has to use a tanker truck to finish the job. Back in the room, Mr. Shen issues his first command. "Little Tong, transfer all my money into the game, and sell all the company's stocks." Completely bewildered, Shenqing can only ask, "Brother, are you sick or something?" But with a chilling smirk, he reveals a glimpse of his new self. "No, I'm not sick." With a fire in his eyes, he declares his insane gamble. "I just need to bet big." 3 hours and 500 million later, Mr. Shen is ready. Strapped into the state-of-the-art gaming pod, he whispers the name of his new battlefield, Divine Path. And with a roar, he dives in. "Here I come!" The game activates. He materializes, and for the first time since his rebirth, he can feel his legs. "Finally, I can move freely." The feeling is so real. The first step, name your character. He chooses his new identity, Morning Wine Elegy. Then comes the class selection. He smirks, his meta-knowledge already giving him an edge. "Just like in my previous life," he muses, looking over the familiar choices. "I'll choose the same as last time," he declares, "the class I'm most familiar with, the Ranger." The system confirms his choice, and his avatar, Morning Wine Elegy, is fully rendered. Great, everything is the same, he thinks, a predatory grin spreading across his face. Now for the next step. As a VIP user, he's immediately granted a special reward, the Epic Tier Elf Bloodline, boosting all his core stats. He also receives a Legacy Tier skill book for weakness detection, a universal skill that lets him deal up to 200% damage to vital points. He's unfazed, same as before. I had already mastered this skill in my previous life. But then, something new. As one of the first 100 global VIPs, an exclusive treasure chest materializes before him. His confident smirk vanishes, replaced by genuine shock. Wait, this wasn't here last time. His mind races as he reaches for the lid, the most important talent ability. It must be inside. But the chest comes with a catch. It costs a staggering 50 million gold coins to open. Morning Wine Elegy is floored. That's 500 million RMB, the entire fortune he just liquidated for his revenge plan. But the thought of his enemy steals his resolve. If I don't spend it now, that bastard will take everything later. Recharge. He recalls that talent abilities are random attributes given to new players, and the best ones go to the earliest adopters. In his previous life, he only received a simple bleeding damage effect, which was still a huge help. With the 500 million now converted to game currency, he declares, "This time I'm spending big to get something even better." He confirms the purchase. The chest erupts in a blinding flash of golden light. He stares in disbelief. "No way, are you kidding me?" From the light emerges a legendary talent he's never seen before, Ionic Evolution. His eyes gleam with manic excitement. There's such a talent. A divine golden figure materializes behind him as the system announces the evolution is a success. He smirks, quoting a proverb that perfectly describes his plan for Xiao Tiankai. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Back in reality, Mr. Shen realizes the true value of his gamble. A talent like this is worth far more than the 500 million he spent. He immediately pulls up the skill details, and the description is absolutely broken. A passive that upgrades every single dropped item by at least 1 rank, and an active skill that can upgrade anything, even his own skills, every 24 hours. He can't believe his eyes. A wicked grin spreads across his face as the implications of this power sink in. He channels his energy, feeling the game-breaking potential at his fingertips. Excellent, he declares. This ability is truly game-changing. As he walks through the starting area, he knows that while others are grinding for bronze and silver loot, every drop for him will be silver, gold, or even higher. His eyes burn with purple energy as he declares the 500 million was worth it to trample everyone beneath his feet. He decides to test his new power immediately by killing some monsters and checking the drops. But he quickly spots a limitation. The active skill has a 24-hour cooldown, meaning his first evolution is critical. He needs to find something with potential. With his new plan in mind, preparations are complete. A massive portal swirls to life. With a wicked grin, he declares it's time to change his fate, and steps into the game. He arrives in the beginner's village, only to find it's already swarming with people, much to his annoyance. The village is pure chaos as players desperately chase down chickens for experience points. Morning Wine Elegy looks on, baffled by their discovery. The entire server descends into a chicken-slaying frenzy. He watches the pathetic display completely unimpressed. Sighing, he decides it's not even worth his time to mock them. He has a far more important goal, defeating the newbie zone boss and claiming the exclusive first kill reward. He heads for the wild monster area, knowing that a prize like that can't be stolen by these amateurs. But first, a quick preparation is in order. He opens his inventory, and is immediately disgusted by his pathetic starter gear. He scoffs, realizing these trash items have absolutely no evolutionary value for his game-breaking talent. He knows he needs to use his daily active evolution to get ahead, but wasting it on trash gear is pointless. He needs to find something with real potential. Then, a crazy idea strikes him. Why upgrade an item? When he can upgrade himself, he targets his own elf bloodline. A colossal spectral form of an ancient elf appears before him, and in a blinding flash of golden light, the evolution is a success. The system confirms it. He's upgraded to the bloodline of the Elf King, granting him insane boosts to his stats, a massive HP increase, and a guaranteed critical hit every third attack. Morning Wine Elegy is ecstatic. The talent is even more broken than he imagined. Overflowing with power, he confidently strides into the monster zone, ready to dominate. But his march is cut short by an ominous howl. The source of the howl is a level 2 forest wolf, its eyes glowing with predatory light. But it's not after him. It's facing off against a party of 4 other players who taunt the beast. They're hungry for experience, seeing the lone wolf as nothing more than a stepping stone, watching from the trees. Morning Wine Elegy analyzes their strategy. Teaming up increases safety, but reduces rewards. Unfortunately for them, their survival knowledge is fatally flawed. Just then, the party's mage realizes their critical error. Her confidence shatters. They forgot one simple fact. Wolves hunt in packs, and now they're trapped. The entire pack descends on them in a blur of teeth and claws. The party is torn apart, with the mage screaming for help while her teammate complains about the hyper-realistic pain. Her brother just sighs. With a casual farewell, he accepts his fate, telling her he'll see her at the respawn point. As their bodies fade, Morning Wine Elegy quotes an old proverb, "The mantis stalks the cicada," unaware of the oriole behind. And he is the oriole. He lets an arrow fly. It strikes a wolf with pinpoint accuracy, a perfect one-shot kill. The easy kill is enough to level him up, granting him a host of stat boosts. But that's not all. His passive talent, Ionic Evolution, kicks in, upgrading the normal wolf meat into a powerful health regeneration item. He smirks, realizing that with his passive, he'll never have to worry about healing items again. His kill doesn't go unnoticed. The rest of the pack is furious, and they charge straight for him. But Morning Wine Elegy is completely unfazed. He's only just begun testing his new powers. Instead of drawing his bow, he faces the pack head-on. His Elf King bloodline activates, granting him a massive 100% speed boost. He explodes forward in a flash of golden light, moving faster than the wolves can even track. In fact, he's so fast he can't quite control it, slamming into a nearby cliff. But the rush is exhilarating. He realizes his new bloodline makes him faster than the wolves even without gear, a game-changing advantage for an archer. Now that he's got a feel for it, he starts taunting the pack. "Can't catch me, can you, mutt?" He effortlessly kites the wolves, weaving through the forest as a blur of golden light. But suddenly, the chase comes to a halt. He turns back, confused. Why did you stop chasing? The wolves snarl at an invisible boundary, refusing to take another step forward. A system notification pops up explaining everything. He's accidentally run into the buffalo zone, a higher level area. And just ahead, he sees the reason for the wolves' fear, a herd of massive armored buffalo. Knowing their place, the wolves wisely turn back and retreat. As he takes in the new zone, a voice calls out from behind him, "Hey there, handsome." He turns to find a party of 3 players, led by a confident pink-haired woman who asks if he'd like to join them. She explains they're about to hunt the buffalo monsters and, believing they're the first players to reach this area, offers him a spot on the team. But one of her party members immediately objects, pointing out that Morning Wine Elegy is only level 2 and would just leech their experience. Morning Wine Elegy couldn't care less, turning away and telling them to keep grinding while he goes somewhere else. The party's blue-haired warrior is shocked, asking if he's out of his mind. Grinding wild cattle is too inefficient. Morning Wine Elegy replies coolly, "Besides, I prefer being a lone wolf." As he walks off, the warrior warns him that the next area is even more dangerous, asking if he even knows the penalty for dying. With a smug grin, he admits he doesn't, cheekily asking the old man to teach him. The warrior explains that upon death, you lose all your gold and your equipment gets damaged. But the worst part, he snarls, is that the pain is terrifyingly real, and you lose half of all your hard-earned experience. Morning Wine Elegy's reaction is completely unimpressed, as he sarcastically thanks him for the heads up. And with a final wave to the pros, he confidently walks off, leaving the stunned party behind. The pink-haired player worries it's too dangerous for him to go alone, but her companion scoffs, telling her not to bother. If that idiot wants to die, let him, he says, as Morning Wine Elegy strides off with purpose. He soon arrives in a much more sinister area. Picking up a weathered skull, he confirms he's found his destination. He stands before a massive pit of glowing skeletons, home to the newbie zone's biggest boss, and declares with a grin, "Looks like I'm here to die today." He tosses the skull into the pit, and it clatters against something massive and scaly. A terrifying reptilian eye snaps open, glowing with ancient fury. From the mountain of bones, a gargantuan serpent begins to rise. The beast is absolutely colossal, a true dragon-like monster that towers over the lone player. But Morning Wine Elegy just smirks, his eyes flaring with power as a skill activates, instantly exposing the monster's weakness. The system confirms it. The level 10 giant Snake King's weakness is the back of its neck. He checks his stats, realizing the bloodline of the Elf King has boosted his health to a staggering 1310. His health bar is now even longer than the boss's. With a crazed grin, he draws a glowing arrow, thinking, "No need to be scared." The serpent lunges, unleashing a torrent of raw power. But Morning Wine Elegy just laughs. He easily sidesteps the attack, boasting, "At this speed, hitting me is going to be tough." He fires a shot, but it barely scratches the beast's scales, dealing only 29 damage. "Damn," he mutters, realizing his attack power is too low. This is still going to be tough. But his speed is his greatest asset, allowing him to run right up the monster's colossal body. He sprints along its back, confidently declaring he can kite it to death. But the serpent reacts with shocking speed, whipping its tail around to intercept the arrow. A perfect block! Damn, it's defending its weakness. He curses. "But my king's blood gives me an attack speed boost," he roars, unleashing a blinding flurry of arrows. "Let's see what's faster, your tail or my arrows." The first shot bounces off. 0 damage. But one arrow finally breaks through, landing a critical hit on its weak spot for 58 damage. He smirks. "Seems you can't block every shot. My arrows are just a bit faster." Yet a single drop of sweat betrays the immense pressure he's under. Enraged by the hit, the giant Snake King lets out a furious hiss, unleashing a thick, venomous fog that floods the entire cavern. "Damn, it's poison!" He quickly calculates that at this rate he'll be dead in less than 2.5 minutes. To make matters worse, the beast begins to climb higher, increasing the distance between them. It's a clear strategy. Lower his hit rate and let the poison wear him down to death. You really underestimate me. But the snake has no idea who it's dealing with. Morning Wine Elegy channels the power of his bloodline, knocking a glowing ethereal arrow. The shot flies true, slamming into the beast for a massive 116 damage. The giant Snake King recoils in agony, its body crackling with magical energy. This is the Arrow of Life, a passive from his Elf King's bloodline that guarantees a critical hit every third attack. And because he hit its weak spot, the critical damage was doubled. The snake's health plummets, but the poison is still ticking away at his own. He has 2 minutes to end this. But the enraged beast unleashes a furious counterattack, forcing him to backpedal. He dodges frantically. Realizing the danger of his critical hits, the snake changes tactics, using its massive tail to launch a map-wide barrage. But does it really think this can stop him? Not a chance. He leaps onto the thrashing tail, using it as a high-speed runway. As the snake tries to fling him off, he coolly tells it, "You're overestimating your speed," and fires another empowered arrow point-blank into its side. The arrow slams home, a massive 200-point critical hit that shreds the snake's health down to 370. He quickly analyzes the numbers. The damage is even higher. He realizes the snake's soft, unarmored belly is an even better target than its protected neck. He lands back on solid ground. Great. With a confident smirk, he draws his bow. This will allow me to finish you off faster. But the giant Snake King's reaction is unnerving. Is that thing laughing? In a terrifying display of power, the snake slams its entire body into the arena floor. The ground shatters instantly. Morning Wine Elegy is thrown into the air, forced to leap between crumbling pillars of rock. He lands precariously on a newly formed spire, looking down at the utter devastation. His confidence is shattered, replaced with pure shock. This boss is far more destructive than he anticipated. The entire arena is now a deep, treacherous chasm filled with a strange purple mist. He realizes the snake's true goal wasn't just to attack, but to reshape the battlefield and trap him. Suddenly, the mist thickens as the snake spews more poison into the pit. A notification confirms his worst fears. The poison stacks, now draining 20 HP per second, a death sentence for any normal player. He analyzes the snake's brilliant strategy, but instead of panicking, he smirks and pulls out a piece of high-grade wolf meat. He consumes the meat, instantly gaining a powerful buff that restores 20 HP per second and boosts his speed. The regeneration perfectly cancels out the poison's damage, giving him a crucial window of opportunity. With his speed enhanced, he declares the fight will be over in the next 20 seconds and leaps into the chasm. He fires another arrow of life, which streaks through the poison mist like a bolt of lightning. With a look of pure, unyielding determination, he prepares his next shot, turning the snake's trap into his own hunting ground. The enraged snake retaliates, blasting a concentrated beam of energy from its maw. But Morning Wine Elegy is far too agile, easily dodging the attack in midair. He gets right up in the beast's face with a taunting, "Hello," as he prepares his counter. The giant Snake King is stunned by his sheer audacity. He plunges the arrow of life directly into the snake's snout. The beast roars in agony, its massive head crashing into the ground from the force of the blow. Realizing it's outmatched, the cunning snake tries to burrow into the ground and escape. But Morning Wine Elegy isn't letting his prey go, firing another perfectly aimed shot. The arrow strikes true, hitting the back of the snake's head with explosive force. The crystal tip shatters on impact, cracking the beast's formidable scales. The giant Snake King lets out a final agonizing roar. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, the Cyclops Rhino monster's eye glows with menacing intent. But back in the chasm, Morning Wine Elegy channels the full power of the Elf King's bloodline, unleashing one last devastating shot. The flaming arrow screams through the air and finds its mark. It pierces straight through the beast's skull, dealing a massive 200 points of damage. He lands gracefully as the battle ends. A notification declares Legend Felled. The poison mist dissipates as the colossal beast fades into nothingness. And with that, he gets the server first kill announcement, but the system asks a crucial question. Hide ID? But Morning Wine Elegy's eyes burn with defiance. "No, I've been hiding for long enough!" He makes his choice. And with that, the announcement blasts across every player's screen. Congratulations to player Morning Wine Elegy for the server first kill of the giant Snake King. The news shocks players across the entire game, even those who just logged in. Grinding parties are brought to a halt as everyone stares at their system windows in disbelief. Competitors who were racing for the first kill are left screaming in frustration, stunned that a level 3 player soloed the boss. Meanwhile, the party that mocked Morning Wine Elegy earlier, led by the confident pink-haired player, has just taken down a massive buffalo. The blue-haired warrior and his companion are already dreaming of the rewards, thinking they just got a first kill. They puff out their chests, convinced they're professionals at impressing their female leader. Eagerly, they turn to her, expecting a shower of praise for their hard work. But their moment of triumph is cut short as a system-wide announcement flashes before their eyes. Player Chaojo Wange has killed the giant Snake King. Their pride shatters, leaving them looking like absolute clowns. Their shock turns to indignant rage, screaming, "Who the hell is this guy?" Meanwhile, the man himself is bathing in the golden light of his reward, instantly jumping from level 2 all the way to level 7. Without a moment's hesitation, he dumps all of his new attribute points into agility. For a ranger, this skyrockets his attack power and speed, giving him stats that already rival a warrior's. A perfect start. With his stats allocated, he turns his attention to the glowing pile of boss loot. But as he reaches for it, his legendary talent Ionic Evolution triggers, automatically upgrading the quality of the drops. The standard 10 silver coins instantly transform into 10 glittering gold coins. While other players are crying over a single copper coin after a full day of grinding, Morning Wine Elegy has just become an absolute tycoon. But the upgrades aren't finished yet. The gold coins begin to glow, transforming once again. His surprise quickly turns into greedy anticipation. The gold coins have evolved into crystal coins, an extinct currency that can buy special items and massively increase NPC favorability. He remembers hearing about these in his past life. They're incredibly rare and will be a massive asset for his plans. With the currency secured, he loots the rest of the boss's drops. He opens his inventory to check the gear. The first item is a silver snake sword, a powerful silver-grade weapon with a venom effect. As a ranger, it's useless to him, but he knows it'll sell for a fortune. He dismisses it and moves on, but the next item makes his eyes light up. It's a silver-grade Azure Scale armor, with a powerful shield effect that activates at the start of battle. He remembers the normal version was just a stat stick, but this silver one is a game changer. There's just one problem. It requires level 10 to use, and he's only level 7. But then he remembers he still has one more reward from the server first kill. He immediately summons and opens the silver treasure chest, hoping for something he can actually use this time. And a flash of legendary light erupts from the chest, granting him an insane new skill. 7-star chain arrows, a godly archer exclusive skill. Of course, it also requires level 10, but this just fuels his fire. Once he hits that level, his damage will be unstoppable. The grind is on. Just as he's about to leave, a faint voice calls out for help from the darkness. He cautiously investigates and finds a beautiful woman hiding in an alcove. She introduces herself as Lady Goo, explaining she was just trying to avoid the giant snake. But Morning Wine Elegy's meta-knowledge kicks in. He knows exactly who this is, a famous NPC rumored to give out valuable hidden quests. He tells her it's safe to come out, but she reveals her foot is injured, and seductively asks if he can carry her. Being the gentleman he is, he obliges, carrying her out of the dark cave. She thanks him profusely, getting a little too close for comfort and promising to take good care of him the next time they meet. His face says it all, next time? And with that, he unceremoniously dumps her on the ground. Sprawled on the ground, Lady Goo tries a different tactic, offering to repay him with her body. She leans in, coyly asking if he wants to, but Morning Wine Elegy is not having it, furiously screaming that he doesn't want that. Her entire demeanor flips. Impressed that he saw through her test, she offers him a bronze-grade dagger instead. But it's not a gift, it's an attack. He effortlessly swats the blade aside. Getting right in her face, he makes his real demand. Give me the hidden class. She plays dumb, but he's not buying it. His shadow morphs into a demonic beast as he reveals his trump card, her daughter. He spells it out, mentioning a 14-year-old girl with the surname Goo who lives nearby. Lady Goo is utterly terrified, demanding to know how he could possibly know all this. Completely defeated, she finally relents, agreeing to help him unlock the path to the hidden class. Morning Wine. Elegy scoffs, couldn't you have just done this from the start? With no other choice, Lady Goo begins a graceful, mystical dance. She reaches out, channeling her energy. Suddenly, a massive magic circle erupts from the ground beneath him. She explains that this is the hidden class trial, and all he has to do is pass. He thanks her, but her smile turns sinister as she warns him not to be so hasty. A system window pops up, and his confidence vanishes. He can't believe what he's seeing. The trial is for the Shadow Hunter class. It's set to difficult level, and worst of all, failure means he's permanently disqualified from ever getting it. Morning Wine Elegy panics, screaming that a difficult level trial is impossible for a level 1 player, only to find his leg trapped by the magic seal. Lady Goo's face twists with malice, declaring this is his end for daring to threaten her daughter. But then, a favorability interface appears, and he has a horrifying realization. The correct path was to befriend her, not blackmail her. It's too late. The portal is fully open, and there's no way out. As he's dragged in, Lady Goo tells him his success now depends on his own skills, but he glares back, refusing to be underestimated. Being pulled into the vortex, he screams a final, defiant threat. He vows that as soon as he escapes, he'll go find her daughter. The portal deposits him in a desolate wasteland, the magic seal vanishing from the night sky. He plummets from a great height, crashing hard into the sand. Coughing and dazed, he looks around the endless desert, wondering where the trial has brought him. A system window appears, laying out the grim conditions of the trial. The rules are strict and absolute, it's either pass him or die. But as he scans the desolate landscape, he notices something odd. A strange glowing spike is sticking out of the sand. Before he can react, dozens more erupt from the ground, surrounding him. He grits his teeth in frustration. A colossal crystalline maw bursts from beneath the sand, revealing the true enemy. Wasting no time, Morning Wine Elegy activates his weakness detection skill. The system locks onto the massive sandworm's vital point right in the center of its mouth. He draws his bow, realizing that while the beast isn't high level, its hide is incredibly tough. He unleashes a charged arrow, striking the beast's weak point dead on. He quickly repositions, realizing the worm is clumsy on the surface. If he can keep hitting its mouth, he can win. But the sandworm roars in fury, gathering a terrifying purple energy for a counterattack. It lunges forward! Morning Wine Elegy smirks, unimpressed. Idiot! Still dare to charge at me head-on? He easily dodges as the colossal beast slams into the ground with earth-shattering force. The shockwave alone is enough to send him flying, and he knows a direct hit would be fatal. When the dust settles, he's shocked to see the monster has completely vanished, diving back beneath the sand. He stares at the disturbed ground. This is troublesome. The worm is now too deep to track, making his next move a dangerous guess. He realizes the beast is incredibly agile underground, giving him less than a second to react to any ambush. He needs to find solid ground, a hard place to stand that will minimize the area where the worm can attack. Scanning the horizon, he spots something. A massive stone pillar, the perfect vantage point. With a new plan in mind, he immediately sprints towards it. He dashes across the sand, his eyes locked on his destination. As he gets closer, his confidence turns to horror. That's no pillar. It's the sandworm's crystalline body, erupting from the ground in a perfect trap. He scoffs, "Dare to come out for a fair fight," and unleashes a blindingly fast volley of arrows, ready to give the beast a taste of its own medicine. His arrows slam home, ripping chunks out of the sandworm's health bar. He scoffs, thinking that as long as the beast fights fair, this is easy. But the sandworm retaliates, unleashing a powerful sand spit attack. It's a perfect counter, aimed to catch him while he's defenseless in the air. He's completely engulfed by the blast! The abrasive sand tears at him, chipping away 52 HP. Bastard! Worse, the attack has a blinding effect, leaving him completely exposed. Blinded and desperate, he spots what he thinks is a safe haven, a stone pillar. Gritting his teeth, he ignores the searing pain, his focus absolute. With no other choice, he places all his bets on reaching that pillar. He slams into the base of the structure, finally reaching what he hopes is cover. A smug grin spreads across his face. His gamble paid off. He hears a familiar sound. The beast is burrowing underground again. But as he analyzes the battle, he realizes something crucial. The sandworm's attacks are powerful, but painfully predictable. He's figured out the pattern. And now it's time to counterattack. He roars a challenge into the empty wasteland, daring the beast to show itself. But as he stands his ground, the very earth beneath him begins to crack. A wicked grin spreads across his face. He's been waiting for this. The sandworm erupts from the ground, but Morning Wine Elegy just scoffs, "You're really a one-track mind, aren't you, stupid bug?" Just as he predicted, the beast unleashes another sandspit. But he's ready for it, using the pillar to launch himself into the air and easily evade the attack. The blast harmlessly strikes the pillar, and he lands perfectly on the monster's back. He taunts the beast, "Why aren't you attacking? Don't tell me you only have those 2 moves?" His eyes glow with killing intent as he declares, "If that's the case, then I'll take your head." Standing right on top of it, he draws his bow for a point-blank shot. He unleashes a powerful charged arrow straight into its skull. A direct hit. The sandworm reels in agony. The barrage of arrows continues to tear into the crystalline sandworm, racking up damage. Each shot lands with brutal precision. Morning Wine Elegy prepares for one last attack, declaring, "All right, the final strike." He fires, sending the killing blow straight into the beast's hide. With the monster defeated, he gets a notification. He's leveled up to 8 and received a pair of sand boots. But looking at the stats, he's utterly disgusted. What kind of trash is this? Standing on the colossal corpse, he complains, "Dude, you're this big and this is all you give?" Just then, something catches his eye. Why are the words on the stone tablet glowing? He realizes only the bottom character is lit up. Wait, could it be? With the sandworm defeated, the mysterious pillar now holds his full attention. Talk, just as I thought. The ground erupts as not one but multiple crystalline sandworms burst forth, their maws ready to devour him. He scoffs, realizing this trial is just a grind, but then a thought strikes him. This place is an incredible leveling spot. He quickly deduces that the worms attack based on ground vibrations, but he can't risk luring them all at once. Suddenly, a brilliant, almost wicked idea comes to mind. Got it! Open the inventory. He pulls out a handful of silver coins, deciding their weight is perfect for his plan. Standing high above the danger on the stone pillar, he prepares to execute his strategy. He tosses the coins onto the sand below, creating a targeted vibration. And just as planned, a single massive sandworm erupts from the ground, taking the bait completely. It feels a bit extravagant to fight like this, he muses, unleashing another powerful shot. But his arrow barely scratches the colossal beast, dealing a pathetic 35 damage. He quickly analyzes the problem. His safe position prevents him from hitting the worm's weak spot, and its defense is just too high. But a wicked smile spreads across his face. It doesn't matter. He's got money. After a long and tedious grind of luring and killing the worms one by one, he finally breathes a sigh of relief. As the last one crumbles, he spots a glint of light, a rare item drop. The system floods with notifications. He's hit level 10, gaining a massive boost to his stats and a tidy sum of 80 silver coins. Shocked by the huge XP gain, he pulls up his personal details, wondering about his new attribute points. His stats are impressive, but one number stands out. His luck is a flat 0. Connecting the dots, he realizes this must be why his drops have been so bad and makes a bold decision. Assign all attribute points to luck. The points flood in, and he immediately notices a hidden synergy. Boosting his luck also raises his hit rate and evasion. Suddenly, his Ionic Evolution talent kicks in, and he realizes with a jolt just how game-breaking this stat really is. Just then, a massive pillar of light descends from the heavens, slamming directly into the last sandworm he killed. As the light erupts, Morning Wine Elegy reflects on his past life, where he was too poor to ever take risks like this. But this time is different. He recognizes the color of that light. It's a legendary item drop. He rushes over, eager to see what his high luck gamble has earned him. The reward is a legendary skill, Sand Escape, allowing unlimited mana-free movement through sand. His face falls. A legendary skill that only works in the desert? He calls it unimpressive, but a sly grin suggests he's already thinking of how to exploit it for survival, or for a deadly ambush. Without hesitation, Morning Wine Elegy learns the new legendary skill, along with the powerful 7-star arrow he'd saved. Another powerful skill is added to his arsenal. Next, he equips the new silver-grade armor he's been holding onto. Feeling a massive surge of power, he declares himself the highest level player on the entire server. But after the upgrades, nothing happens. The trial seems to be over, all monsters are defeated, and a distant tower confirms the objective is complete. Suddenly, the entire wasteland begins to shake violently. A massive crystalline structure erupts from the ground right in front of him. It forms a glowing staircase, and he realizes this wasn't just a trial. The real reward is inside. A confident smirk spreads across his face. This is the perfect opportunity to test out his new skills and equipment. But just as he's about to ascend, a familiar voice cries out for her big brother. Morning Wine Elegy freezes, the voice echoing in his mind. Xiaotong? Suddenly, we're ripped from the game back to the real world, where his sister is climbing his VR pod to tell him it's time to eat. She proudly presents his favorite porridge, but Mr. Shen is panicking, yelling at her from inside the machine. As he begs her to get down, a game alert pops up asking if he wants to exit. Absolutely not. Leaving now means forfeiting the hidden profession he's on the verge of obtaining. Shenxing complains that he's been playing for 8 hours while still in recovery, but he shouts back that he doesn't have time for this. He sternly tells her to behave and not disturb him while he's working. This earns him a world-class little sister pout. Annoyed, she hops off the pod, slamming the bowl down and declaring she doesn't care about him anymore. As she leaves, Shenqing's anger fades into sadness, wondering how things got so bad between them. Back in the game, Morning Wine Elegy feels a pang of guilt, silently apologizing to his sister. But his regret hardens into resolve. He vows to get stronger for her, accepting his new title, Phantom Hunter. With his choice made, he charges up the crystalline staircase into a vortex of pure energy. He's pulled through the swirling blue light, his eyes fixed on the prize. He lands in a dark, cavernous new area, the air thick with menace. A system warning confirms his suspicions. This is the real boss room. And before he can even catch his breath, a colossal crimson entity erupts from the ground. His confidence shatters as he stares up in disbelief. No way. Are you kidding me? The crimson entity is revealed to be a gold-level boss, the Sand King, a colossal crab-like beast with impossibly high stats. Reeling from its insane defense and health, Morning Wine Elegy activates his trump card, Weakness Detection. But the skill fails. The system returns a chilling message, Weakness Not Found. His face falls in horror. No weakness? The colossal gold-level boss brings its massive leg crashing down. Morning Wine Elegy dives out of the way, thinking its massive size means it must be slow. He's wrong. A massive shockwave erupts, blasting him off his feet. And it deals real damage. He's thankful for his armor's 300-point shield, which absorbed a blow that would have felt like getting hit by a truck. The sheer power of the stomp leaves a massive crater in the ground. Realizing he can't just dodge, Morning Wine Elegy decides it's time to go on the offensive. He lets loose a powerful shot that deals a pathetic single point of damage. Just 1 point? He realizes the boss's defense is so high it negates almost all of his attack power. He concludes his only option is to use his superior speed to outrun the shockwaves, as simply jumping away won't be enough. But the Sand King is faster than he expected, swinging its massive leg at him. He's too close to dodge! The leg slams down with devastating force, but finds nothing. Using his incredible agility, Morning Wine Elegy scrambled onto the beast's leg, narrowly avoiding being crushed. The Sand King unleashes another shockwave, sending him flying. But this just fuels his rage. Pushed to his limit, he roars in defiance and unleashes his ultimate skill. A torrent of golden arrows rains down on the colossal beast, each one striking true. He reveals his trump card. 7-star linked arrows, a skill that deals true damage based on the target's max HP, completely ignoring its impenetrable defense. The skill's brutal logic is revealed. The higher the Sand King's health, the more damage it takes. Enraged, the Sand King retaliates. Its claws smash through his defenses, deactivating his shield and chipping away at his health. He glares back, defiant. He desperately weaves between its colossal strikes, taking damage with every near miss. With what little mana he has left, he fires another volley of 7-star arrows. The golden barrage strikes home, and for a moment, the beast just stops. But the attack has completely drained him. He's out of mana. He calculates that he'll need to survive for at least 4 more minutes to recover enough mana for another shot. But before he can even start his countdown, the Sand King lets out a final earth-shattering roar and begins to collapse. But it's not collapsing downwards, it's launching itself into the air. Morning Wine Elegy scoffs, unimpressed by the beast's final desperate gambit. But as it soars upwards, a new notification flashes. A weakness has been detected. He's stunned. After all this time, a weak point has suddenly appeared. The system highlights the target, its abdomen, which was pressed against the ground the entire fight. And in a flash, he understands. The boss didn't jump to attack him. It jumped to expose its weak spot, practically begging him to end its misery. But it's not over yet. The Sand King's core glows with a final ominous light. It's unleashing its ultimate skill, a deadly trap that deals massive damage over time, restricts movement, and causes blindness. Morning Wine Elegy can only stare in confusion. Because as the Sand King's body finally gives out, the deadly attack erupts from its corpse, a final parting gift from beyond the grave. He's trapped in a vortex of pure pain, screaming, "What kind of rogue skill is this?" It's not just high damage, it lasts forever. The wind pressure is immense, pinning him in place. There's no escape. Worse, it's a control skill too. He quickly calculates that taking the full duration would mean 6,000 damage, instant death. As his health ticks down, he can only curse the boss for being a total cheater. The deadly storm rages on. He grits his teeth, knowing this is it. Either he dies or he's left crippled. But then a system notification pops up. It's not his health dropping, it's the Sand King's. Realizing what's happening, his panic turns to a cold smirk. Pretty comfortable up there? Suddenly, the Sand King's corpse begins to crack and glow with violent energy. It turns out the swirling vortex isn't just a trap, it's also cover. The vortex rages on. Suddenly, something starts wriggling beneath the sand. He doesn't hesitate, firing a glowing arrow right at the disturbance. Are you surprised? It's a direct hit. The Sand King's corpse takes another 130 damage. The beast's eye flashes with pure fury. It activates its storm skill again, but Morning Wine Elegy is ready, activating Sand Escape to counter. He cleverly attacks the ground, realizing he can damage the boss's buried body while avoiding the storm's full effect. Enraged, the Sand King's massive upper body erupts from the ground to face him directly. Morning Wine. Elegy just smirks, taunting the colossal beast. Not comfortable up there. Why did you come down? That's the last straw. The Sand King lunges forward for a devastating physical strike, but Morning Wine Elegy is too fast, flipping backward to evade the monster's claws. He lands at a distance and gives the beast a casual. The Sand King roars in fury as Morning Wine Elegy marvels at his legendary skill, no mana cost and no cooldown. He zips around the beast's massive body, peppering it with tiny, insignificant strikes that deal only 1 HP of damage each. He smirks, knowing that even though the attacks do no real damage, they are incredibly provoking. The Sand King finally speaks, roaring, "You jerk!" which catches Morning Wine Elegy completely off guard. 3 grueling hours later, the battle of attrition has taken its toll. Morning Wine Elegy is exhausted and low on health. But just as he's about to break, a notification pops up. His ultimate skill, 7-star arrows, is finally ready. It's time to finish this. He taunts the heavily damaged boss one last time, but the Sand King's response is shocking. Morning Wine Elegy is left utterly speechless. The Sand King is in pure agony, begging Morning Wine Elegy to end its suffering. But our hero is completely unmoved, coldly stating that he would if the boss's defense wasn't so ridiculously high. Ignoring the surrender entirely, he unleashes his ultimate skill, 7-star arrows, and a torrent of golden energy vaporizes the Sand King's health bar. The system confirms the kill, rewarding him with a massive cross-level bonus that rockets him up 3 levels in an instant. And the rewards keep coming, as a new prompt offers him the chance to unlock a hidden class, the Phantom Hunter. "Change," he roars. This was the prize he'd been fighting for all along. A colossal golden figure descends from the heavens, its form radiating immense power. But then, it's consumed by a sinister, shadowy aura, transforming into something much darker. The class change is a success, granting him a huge stat boost and a game-breaking talent. 2 extra attribute points every single level, a truly overpowered advantage. He also unlocks 2 exclusive skills, Phantom Summon, which creates a temporary clone, and Death Trap, an invisible snare that doubles his damage against trapped targets. Morning Wine Elegy immediately sees the potential. On their own, the skills are average, but combined, they create an insta-kill combo worthy of a hidden class. His mind races with possibilities. With his active evolution on cooldown, he can only wonder what his new Phantom Summon is capable of becoming. But just then, his passive Ionic evolution activates on the Sand King's corpse. Investing in luck, he smirks, was the right move. The beast's body erupts in a cataclysmic explosion of golden loot. Raking in a fortune in gold and gems, he sets a new goal for himself. Earn 1 billion. First things first, he stores the massive haul. The prize of the collection is a silver-tier armor-piercing bow, perfect for shredding high-defense monsters. He equips it instantly. Next up is a silver-tier steel gauntlet, boosting his attack, agility, and reload speed. He also finds a silver-tier golden greatsword, a powerful weapon for a warrior. But as a ranger, it's useless to him. He decides to save it for a future ally. The last piece of gear is a silver-tier life amulet, which he immediately equips for some much-needed defense and health regeneration. With his gear sorted, he dumps all 21 of his new attribute points straight into agility. The boost is insane, skyrocketing his agility and making him a blur on the battlefield. But just as he's ready to test his new power, a system warning pops up. He's been grinding for over 15 hours and is about to be forcibly logged out. His body begins to dematerialize, but his thirst for power isn't satisfied. The game doesn't care. He's yanked out of the virtual world against his will. Waking up in his VR pod, Mr. Shen is furious, screaming that he still wants to grind. His roar echoes in the silent, sterile room. He grumbles about the game's anti-addiction system, wondering why an adult like him is being treated like a child. But his frustration quickly fades. Because at this rate, his revenge is close at hand. Soon, Xiao Tiankai and all his betrayers will pay. His rage subsides as he finds his sister Shenqing asleep on his bed. He notices the porridge she left for him, touched that the pampered princess would go to such lengths. He realizes she must have endured so much to take care of him. He vows that once his revenge is complete, he'll give her the life she deserves. He takes a spoonful, and is hit by a taste so vile it's like eating salt boiled in bile, his pained gasp waking his sister up. But Shenqing, completely oblivious, is just overjoyed that her brother has finally stopped playing games. Barely holding it together, Mr. Shen apologizes for waking her. She excitedly asks how the porridge tastes, and he lies through the pain, claiming it's delicious. Beaming with pride, Shenqing encourages him to finish the whole bowl. But as Mr. Shen looks down, a menacing aura of pure evil rises from the porridge. Crying tears of agony, he forces himself to eat another spoonful for his sister's sake. The next day, the aftermath is brutal. Mr. Shen looks like his soul has left his body. A nurse enters his room to check on his condition. She explains that his sudden, violent illness really scared Shenqing. But her internal monologue reveals her true motive. She sees the rich, crippled young master as her ticket to a life of luxury. Mr. Shen, however, brushes it off, lying that he was just tired from gaming to protect his sister's feelings. She leans in, offering her services with a suggestive smile. But Mr. Shen coldly shuts her down, demanding to be taken back to the game. Her seduction attempt fails spectacularly, leaving her in utter disbelief. Defeated, she wheels him over, wondering where she went wrong. He wastes no time, immediately logging back into Divine Path. Morning Wine Elegy is back online. He spawns into a bustling city, the player count already hitting 300,000. He knows that in just 1 month, the player base will explode to over 100 million. He needs to level up, and fast. He checks his current gear, a mix of equipped and unequipped items from his boss fight. But it's not enough. To stay ahead of the curve, he needs top-tier gear. With a new goal in mind, Morning Wine Elegy decides to hunt bosses above level 20, heading straight for a specific shop. He enters, surprising the old shopkeeper. The man is immediately dazzled by his silver-tier armor. But while the shopkeeper fawns over him, Morning Wine Elegy knows the truth. All the good gear is hidden away. So he cuts to the chase, demanding the shop's hidden treasure. The shopkeeper plays dumb, claiming they have no such thing, and that he couldn't afford it anyway. Morning Wine Elegy smirks, presenting a massive, flawless crystal as payment. The shopkeeper's jaw hits the floor. His favorability skyrockets as he realizes he's dealing with a VIP. And just like that, a secret door bursts open, revealing a hidden chamber. The shopkeeper explains that this is the high-tier loot, locked until 30 days after the server opens. But for Morning Wine Elegy, the vault is open now. But as he scans the loot, Morning Wine Elegy scoffs, dismissing it all as silver trash, much to the shopkeeper's disbelief. He gets the shopkeeper's attention. His eyes lock onto a single unique item in a crystal case, a menacing, glowing mask. The shopkeeper explains it's the only golden mask on the server, originally priced at 200,000 gold, but offers a discount of 150,000. Before he can even finish his sales pitch, the full 200,000 gold is transferred instantly, leaving him utterly stunned. Morning Wine Elegy tells him to keep the change and to contact him first for any future rare items. He walks away, calculating that 2 million in real-world cash is a bargain for such a unique piece of gear. He equips his new prize. The mask materializes on his face, and a system window confirms he can even customize its appearance. The stats are incredible. The gold-grade white tiger mask gives a huge boost to speed and strength, plus a special effect that terrifies lower-level players and monsters. As Morning Wine Elegy leaves, other players stare in awe, with one immediately identifying his new mask as a gold-grade item. The whispers turn to accusations as players across the town decry him as a cheater, since gold gear is supposedly impossible to obtain this early. But his new fame attracts more than just whispers, as a large, spiky-haired player grabs his shoulder, telling him to slow down. Morning Wine Elegy turns, his voice dangerously low. What do you want? The brawler and his crew surround him, smirking as they demand to play with his new gear. A cold smile touches Morning Wine Elegy's lips. Lend it to you? The brawler scoffs, clearly not appreciating the tone. With his mask dematerialized, Morning Wine Elegy's glowing eyes radiate pure contempt. Why should I? The group resorts to threats, accusing him of cheating and demanding he hand over his items to avoid being reported and banned. Morning Wine. Elegy just laughs. Are you saying you're going to rob me? The commotion is already drawing a crowd, with other players eager to see the drama unfold. The spiky-haired brawler confirms their intentions with a smirk. As long as you know it's a robbery. His crew, fueled by jealousy, starts riling up the mob, screaming for the cheating dog to be taught a lesson. But Morning Wine Elegy remains completely unfazed by their pathetic display. The crowd's shouts intensify, turning into a mindless chorus of, "Teach him!" The brawler gives his final warning. Hand over your stuff. He threatens to spawn camp Morning Wine Elegy into oblivion, but our hero just scoffs at the empty threat. As a blue light emanates from his eyes, he laments the universal existence of fools and jealous scoundrels. He activates a skill, instantly analyzing their pathetic levels. I hate trouble, he mutters, preparing to end this farce. With his mask reforming, he issues a chilling invitation. All three of you can come at me. Enraged by his arrogance, the three robbers charge forward, screaming threats and insults. But beneath the mask, Morning Wine Elegy's eyes burn with cold power. He unleashes the mask's true ability, activating the skill Tiger Shape Opens. A colossal spectral tiger erupts into existence, its sheer pressure stopping the attackers dead in their tracks. In an instant, a wave of force sends all three flying backwards. The spiky-haired brawler is utterly broken, his 5 victories title shattered as he spits up blood. The surrounding crowd is stunned into silence, unable to even process the speed of the attack. Morning Wine Elegy stands over the defeated brawler, who weakly recalls his own threat to spawn camp him. Looking down on the pathetic thug, he extends an open invitation. My ID is Morning Wine Evening Song. You're welcome to come anytime. As he walks away, a player in the crowd suddenly recognizes the name, pointing to the server-wide announcement from his boss kill. The crowd pulls up the leaderboard, and the truth hits them like a truck. Morning Wine Evening Song is rank 1, level 13, a full 5 levels ahead of everyone else. The realization spreads like wildfire. He's not just strong, he's the #1 player on the entire server. The defeated brawler can only seethe in humiliated disbelief. He just tried to rob the undisputed king of the game. With his reputation cemented in steel and fear, Morning Wine Elegy leaves the town behind. But he's not heading back to the grind just yet. He smirks, knowing there's one more piece he needs to put in place. He tracks his target to a secluded cliffside, a young girl sitting alone. Found her, he says. He approaches her casually, asking if she knows a certain Madame Goo. But the girl immediately fires back with a fiery temper, offended at being called a little girl. Her bratty attitude is exactly what he was looking for. No doubt about it, he thinks. Leaning in, he drops the bombshell. You're Madame Goo's daughter, Gulinger, right? Her shock is immediate. He knows exactly who she is, and he clearly wants something. He leans in with a sinister smile and drops an absolute bombshell. Your mother promised me that you'd marry me in 5 years. Gulinger is completely stunned. She immediately throws a tantrum, screaming at the sky while Morning Wine Elegy just sits back, enjoying the chaos he's created. The girl sprints home in tears, finding her mother, Lady Goo. Did you really marry me off? She cries, leaving her mother utterly confused. Just then, a familiar voice cuts in. It's Morning Wine Elegy. Lady Goo spins around, her face a mask of pure disbelief. You passed the hard difficulty trial? He smirks. Of course. I told you I'd come find your daughter. I'm a man of my word. Holding her child tight, Lady Goo demands to know what he wants, while Gulinger hilariously threatens to move out if he tries anything. Move out? Morning Wine. Elegy bursts out laughing, realizing he's the first player to ever scare an NPC into threatening to leave home. He waves it off. Don't be so nervous. I just want the map for the intermediate dungeon. Lady Goo glares at him, flatly stating, I don't have that kind of thing. Morning Wine. Elegy sighs. Fine. Seems like I need to show you something impressive or you won't cooperate. His eyes glow with intent, as he reveals an item that emits a blinding flash of light. He holds out a massive, shimmering blue crystal, leaving both mother and daughter completely mesmerized. Don't just stand there, he smirks. This is to thank you for letting me take the hidden class trial. Take it. A system notification confirms his gambit worked. Favorability with both Madame Goo and Linger has shot up by 50 points. Lady Goo is completely flustered, blushing as she asks if the priceless gem is really for her. But before she can react, Gulinger snatches the crystal away, squealing, "So pretty! Thank you, big brother!" Lady Gu chases after her, yelling for her to return it, but the bratty girl refuses, clutching her new prize as Morning Wine Elegy watches the chaos unfold. As Lady Gu struggles to get the gem back, her daughter completely derails the conversation, asking Morning Wine Elegy if his marriage proposal was real. He thinks to himself that the girl is as mischievous as they say, but plays along, telling her, "Of course, but your mother needs to give me the intermediate map first." Defeated, Lady Gu relents, revealing a secret. While the map is normally time-locked, the village chief has special permission to give it to players who complete difficult challenges. Hearing this, Gulinger's eyes light up. "I know where the village chief's house is," she declares. "I'll take you there." Meanwhile, at the village chief's house, a white-haired woman with fox ears is lazing about in the sun. "A nap in the sun is the best," she sighs contentedly, dismissing the notion that it's bad for her health. Her nap is suddenly interrupted by a sound from above. With a massive crash, Gulinger lands right in front of her, screaming, "Village chief, someone's here to see you!" Dazed from the impact, the village chief coughs. "Guess lying down really isn't good for the body. Linger, who's looking for me?" Morning Wine Elegy wastes no time, stating directly, "I need the intermediate dungeon map to leave the beginner village." The village chief just laughs, telling the young man not to be so rash. "You're only level 13. Come back when you're level 20. Unfazed, he simply asks, "What about this?" and slides the priceless crystal across the table. It slides to a stop right in front of her. A sly, fanged grin spreads across her face. "Trying to bribe me. Do you know why I'm the village chief?" She lectures him about her upright and honest character, claiming she's doing this for his own good, while sneakily pocketing the crystal. But Gulinger calls her out immediately, demanding, "Since you're so honest, give it back to Big Brother." She even tries to physically snatch it back, catching the chief completely off guard. Morning Wine Elegy smirks, thinking the girl isn't so annoying after all, and tells the chief, "If this is for my own good, then just give me the map." The chief relents slightly, admitting she can see he's leveling up fast, but warns him that even the bugs in that dungeon are level 20. Going there now is a death sentence. The chief insists she can't give him the map for his own good, but Morning Wine Elegy counters, "What if I can prove my strength?" Her ears perk up. "You really want it that badly?" She leaps to her feet with a sudden burst of energy. "Deal! I have a task for you. Complete it and the map is yours." He smirks, knowing he's won. The chief explains that every year, a wolf pack attacks the village, and while other players have tried to help, they can never solve the root of the problem. Because the pack is led by a terrifying alpha, the White Wolf King. Her eyes gleam as she gives him the mission, "Take it down and bring me its pelt." A quest window pops up, a hard difficulty side quest to kill the White Wolf King, with the intermediate dungeon map as the main reward. Without a moment's hesitation, he accepts. As he turns to leave, he throws one last command over his shoulder. "Get the map ready." With a confident smirk, he promises, "I'll be back soon." But Gulinger grabs his arm, insisting she's coming along to protect him. He immediately shuts her down, telling her to go back to her mom. But she's not having it, passionately declaring she wants to help defeat the White Wolf, too. As she physically drags him away, he yells at the amused village chief to control her villagers. Suddenly, his quest updates with a new mandatory condition. He must protect Gulinger. He is not pleased. The little girl climbs onto his back like a monkey, reminding him of his fake marriage proposal to get him to agree. Worn down by her tearful persistence, Morning Wine Elegy finally caves, and she cheers in victory. And so, with his new, very talkative baggage, he heads into the forest to begin the hunt. Following the mission hints, they arrive at a dark, ominous part of the forest, which Gulinger immediately finds creepy. Suddenly, a scream pierces the silence. Up ahead, they spot signs of a battle, and Gulinger suggests they ask for directions. But the locals are busy. Stepping over the fresh kill, Morning Wine Elegy calmly asks the other players for the location of the wolves' lair. He's met with hostility from a party of 5, whose leader declares that this area is taken and he's not welcome. Taken? The warrior smirks, flexing a tattoo on his arm as he boasts about being part of the biggest guild around. The Green Snake Gang. A name that means absolutely nothing to Morning Wine Elegy. The gang leader continues his shakedown, declaring that the entire Buffalo area is their territory and demanding a fee. He then points to Gulinger, asking if she's a quest NPC, but Morning Wine Elegy coldly shuts him down. With a condescending smirk, he mocks their grinding method, calling it inefficient. The leader scoffs, defending their choice to hunt low-level wolves as a safe strategy. The tense atmosphere frightens Gulinger. But her fear turns to alarm as she senses something approaching and points it out. Morning Wine Elegy looks over, confused by her sudden warning. Suddenly, a terrifying, dark presence with a glowing red eye looms over the gang members. The entire party is sent flying by an unseen force as Morning Wine Elegy dives to shield Gu Linger from the blast. His eyes narrow, analyzing the new threat. He scoffs at the fallen gang, wondering how they could be so idiotic as to try and claim this territory. They were completely oblivious to the overwhelming killing intent radiating from the true area boss, the White Wolf King. In a flashback, we see another player, a masked female player, get an unpleasant surprise as she realizes the massive wolf is drooling right on top of her. It lets out a deafening roar and lunges forward to attack. The beast is sent flying back, but her party is left staring in stunned silence. Their courage shatters in an instant, and they turn and flee for their lives from the enraged monster. Back in the present, the White Wolf King huffs, its eyes glowing with pure malice. But just as Morning Wine Elegy braces for a fight, the colossal beast vanishes into thin air, leaving him completely baffled. Suddenly, a new vision flashes, another party, completely overwhelmed by a shadowy force. At the center of the carnage, the White Wolf King roars in triumph. A brutal slash. Morning Wine Elegy analyzes the beast's stats, level 20, with a staggering 4,000 health and 300 attack power, but its skills remain unknown. He realizes the wolf's vanishing act wasn't just speed, it has some other trick up its sleeve. With a glint in his eye, he prepares to test it again. But just as he draws his bow, a small hand stops him. It's Gu Linger. "What are you doing?" he snaps, but she refuses to let go, yelling, "No, you can't." Their argument gives the White Wolf King the perfect chance to escape, and it bolts into the forest. As Morning Wine Elegy gives chase, Gu Linger scrambles to keep up. "No!" she yells, explaining that the last group drew the Wolf King's aggro by killing too many smaller wolves, and he's not strong enough to do the same. She insists they need to be fully prepared. Morning Wine Elegy mutters to himself, but then asks how they're supposed to find the beast now. "Don't worry," she says, "I have this." She proudly presents a childish crayon drawing of a wolf, calling it an auto-pathfinding map. He deadpans, "Why didn't you take this out earlier?" while she just winks cheekily. But just then, a system notification pops up. Evolution available. A wicked grin spreads across his face. "Just in time," he says, as Gu Linger marvels at the beautiful blue aura. "Watch this," he boasts, preparing to activate his skill. "Evolve again, Bloodline." But his triumphant moment is cut short by a massive error message. The system trolls him. "Already evolved, cannot evolve again. Nice try." Mortified, Morning Wine Elegy tries to play it cool, saying, "Haha, trying isn't illegal." He realizes he can only evolve his phantom skill now, but decides he should probably test it out first. He raises his hand, focusing his energy. "Phantom, activate!" A massive torrent of blue, watery energy erupts from his hand, leaving Gu Linger completely stunned. The energy swirls and condenses, forming into a perfect spectral clone of himself. The clone lands with a heavy thud, startling Gu Linger. "It's another version of you made of water," she exclaims as Morning Wine Elegy smirks, impressed with his new ability. Time for a test run, he thinks, ordering his new phantom. "Use the 7-star arrow." The clone obeys instantly, drawing back a spectral bowstring. It begins to charge his most powerful attack, the 7-star arrow. "Whoa, stop!" Morning Wine Elegy shouts, quickly canceling the command before it actually fires. He stands back, impressed. As expected of a hidden class, it can even use skills. A sly grin spreads across his face as he thinks, using skills. And then a wicked realization dawns on him. Doesn't that mean... With his phantom clone already summoned, Morning Wine Elegy activates his ultimate talent, Ionic Evolution. The spectral clone raises its hand, channeling a brilliant golden energy. As Gu Linger watches in awe, the power swirls around the phantom, before the clone unleashes the full force of the evolution skill. But instead of affecting itself, the golden light surges directly into Morning Wine Elegy. A system window confirms the impossible. His phantom skill has evolved into double phantom, increasing the summon count to 2, boosting their attack power to 60%, and doubling their duration. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he realizes he's found an insane loophole. The clone can use his evolution talent on him. A stunned Gu Linger can only ask one thing. "Brother, are you cheating?" "Cheating?" he scoffs. "Even a cheat code wouldn't be this broken. Now, what's my win rate?" As a second identical phantom clone materializes beside the first, he answers his own question with chilling confidence. "Impressive. It's at 20%. But he's not done. With one charge left, Morning Wine Elegy targets his ultimate skill, declaring, "Let's make that number even bigger. Evolve 7-star arrows." The skill transforms into 7-star flaming arrows, now dealing true damage based on max health, applying a burn, and with a reduced cooldown and mana cost. He's a little disappointed it didn't become 8 arrows, but Gu Linger is practically vibrating with excitement, yelling that it's already insanely powerful. She gives him a confident wink, updating him on their new odds. The win rate has risen to 34%. Just then, a notification pops up. His phantom skill is already off cooldown, surprising them both. Perfect, he thinks, deciding to use the last evolution charge from his remaining clone. He gives the order, activate evolution. But the system hits him with a hard no. The skill is still on cooldown, and his confident smirk vanishes. He quickly realizes his mistake. The phantom inherits everything from the main body, including skill cooldowns. A critical oversight. He makes a mental note. Next time, he'll use the clone's upgrades before using his own. With his skill on cooldown, Morning Wine Elegy tells Gu Linger they need a new plan to boost their chances against the Wolf King. He leads her to a lake, and as he tells her to follow, a massive crocodile beast erupts from the water. He'd already fired his shot, a perfect arrow aimed straight for its throat. A direct hit. The kill nets them some advanced crocodile meat, a powerful buffing item that Gu Linger is very excited about. With the plan set, he activates his double phantom skill, summoning 2 clones to triple their farming speed. He promises Gu Linger she'll get her fill soon enough. 1 hour later, she's in a state of pure food-induced ecstasy. The evolved meat was so good it raised her favorability by 30 points. Now fully stocked with powerful recovery items, Morning Wine Elegy feels confident and asks Gu Linger for an updated win rate. After a quick calculation, Gu Linger updates their chances of victory to a solid 40%. That's all Morning Wine Elegy needs to hear, confidently declaring that it's time to take down the Wolf King. As he strides off, Gu Linger scrambles to keep up. But elsewhere in the dark woods, a mysterious hooded group is on the move, their purpose unknown. Thanks to Gu Linger's map, they soon arrive at the entrance to a foreboding cave. Without wasting a moment, Morning Wine Elegy summons his phantoms and begins activating his Death Trap skill. He reveals his brilliant strategy. With a 60-second duration and a 30-second cooldown, each of his 2 phantoms can lay 2 traps for a total of 4. But he's not stopping there, repeating the process over and over. He meticulously transforms the entire cavern floor into an inescapable web of death. Gu Linger is stunned by the overkill, but she points out something strange. Despite all this preparation, their win rate hasn't gone up at all. Morning Wine Elegy calmly tops off his mana, explaining that the traps will ensure the fast Wolf King has nowhere to run. But Gu Linger is still worried, pointing out their win rate is still below 50%. Unfazed, he just smirks and points to his head, telling her to leave the rest to his brain. With the final preparations made, he orders Gu Linger to hide behind a protected tree and stay put no matter what. Then standing alone before the dark maw of the cave, he issues his challenge. From the suffocating darkness, a malicious eye snaps open. A terrifying bipedal White Wolf King emerges, roaring with ancient fury. Morning Wine Elegy braces himself, confident the beast will step right into his meticulously laid trap. But the Wolf King stops dead in its tracks, sensing the danger. To his shock, the beast is far more intelligent than he expected, and it retreats back into the darkness, completely avoiding his trap. Frustrated, Morning Wine Elegy resorts to taunts, mocking the beast for hiding like a coward. From her hiding spot, Gu Linger pouts, thinking that if he proves his strength, she might even consider marrying him. But her daydream is violently interrupted as a hand clamps over her mouth. Suddenly, a notification flashes. A trap has been triggered. He knows instantly that it wasn't the Wolf King, and the horrifying realization sends him into a rage. He whirls around, screaming for the only other person out here, Gu Linger. His fears are confirmed as she struggles against her captor. The mysterious hooded figures have made their move, grabbing the girl, but one of them has blundered right into his trap. Morning Wine. Elegy's eyes burn with cold fury as he orders them to let the kid go. Even captured, Gu Linger is all fire, threatening them with her husband. Her captor is just confused, asking how old she even is. Morning Wine Elegy is mortified. But she keeps screaming for her husband to save her, sending him into a full-blown panic. The other kidnappers find this hilarious, openly mocking him for targeting children. The leader steps forward, cutting through the laughter with a simple question. Do you know whose land this is? Morning Wine Elegy doesn't flinch. I know. It's the Green Snake Gang. The kidnapper seems taken aback, asking why he dare trespass on their turf. And now we get the real reason they're here. His guildmates were ambushed in this very spot earlier today. He points an accusing finger, demanding to know if Morning Wine Elegy was behind the attack. Morning Wine. Elegy calmly denies everything. The fact that your brothers were taken down has nothing to do with me. Wait for them to revive and ask them yourself. The kidnapper in the cat hoodie scoffs, saying he doesn't think someone so cowardly could take out his men and demands to know his real purpose here. It's nothing, he replies, just wandering around. The leader isn't buying it for a second, yelling that there must be a hidden boss and that all monsters and rewards in this area belong to them. Internally, Morning Wine Elegy can't believe their arrogance. Where on earth did these idiots come from? Do they really think they can beat it? He decides to use their greed, offering to let them have the hidden boss if they let Gulinger go. His plan? Let them get wiped out, then swoop in for the loot. The leader is insulted. What a joke! You're negotiating with me? Morning Wine Elegy just asks for his name. The guy puffs out his chest, introducing himself as Yang Cheng's third young master, heir to the second largest consortium and ranked 27th on the heavenly list. Morning Wine Elegy almost laughs. He recognizes the name because his own group owns 40% of their shares. Even this kid's father treats him with respect. Playing along, he feigns recognition, but the young master cuts him off, demanding all his valuables as punishment for being unruly. Morning Wine Elegy sighs, putting on a show of reluctance. I didn't want to escalate the situation. He then points dramatically towards the cave, but you're definitely overstepping your bounds. As if on cue, a blood-curdling roar erupts from the darkness, shaking the very ground. The kidnapper in cat hoodie is ecstatic. Boss, there's really a hidden boss! Yang Cheng's third young master scoffs. So, didn't I already say that? Pumping his fist, the young master rallies his guild. The Green Snake Gang is invincible, charge with me. And with a final battle cry, the entire gang charges blindly towards the cave. One of them shoves Gulinger back towards him, yelling, "Get back to your child bride, we'll settle our business later." Catching her, Morning Wine Elegy watches them go, wondering how such a reckless group ever reached this level. They didn't prepare, they didn't do any reconnaissance. They're just running straight into the jaws of death. And with a wicked smirk, he steps onto one of his own glowing traps, thinking, if they happen to step into my trap, I can't take all the blame. The trap springs instantly, ensnaring the entire Green Snake Gang in glowing chains as they cry out in shock. Before they can recover, a guttural roar echoes from the cave as the White Wolf King emerges. The beast towers over them, its sheer size and malice paralyzing the trapped players with fear. As his guildmates panic, Yang Cheng's third young master shouts for them to calm down, declaring that he's got this. He smirks, confident that the hidden berserker giant talent he paid a fortune for will be more than enough. With a roar, he activates his skill. Transforming into a massive spectral warrior, he charges forward to clash with the equally colossal wolf. His active skill, Berserker Giant, grants him a temporary, overwhelming boost to strength, attack, and defense for 30 seconds. Watching from the sidelines, Morning Wine Elegy is genuinely surprised, thinking, whoa, a skill like that exists. But Gulinger is unimpressed, asking her brother if he's really going to let these fools steal their mission objective. Morning Wine Elegy smirks, deciding to let the two behemoths wear each other down. Meanwhile, the Green Snake Gang cheers for their leader, completely oblivious to the danger. Yang Cheng, drunk on his newfound power, mocks the wolf, boasting that unless it can one-shot him, he's invincible. The White Wolf King accepts the challenge, and in a flash of claws, it proves him wrong, leaving Gulinger stammering in disbelief. Morning Wine Elegy's analysis skill kicks in, revealing the wolf's attack. Steel Peak Claw, an 800 damage defense-ignoring strike. Yang Cheng's health plummets, leaving him with a sliver of life. The colossal giant is sent flying backward, stumbling back into his terrified guildmates. Their arrogance shatters instantly, and the third young master's only command is a single panicked word, run. As the Green Snake Gang scatters, Morning Wine Elegy scoffs at the useless rabble. But the White Wolf King is far from finished, letting out a furious roar. With a single howl, it summons its pack, unleashing a tide of lesser wolves. The gang's retreat turns into a desperate flight for their lives. Their loyalty shatters as they argue, one demanding they save their boss while another screams that it's suicide. Pragmatism wins out as the man declares that even bootlicking has its limits. He offers a quick, insincere apology to the boss he's abandoning. But as he flees, he spots something unbelievable. Morning Wine Elegy is walking calmly towards the monster. In a shocking twist, the intelligent beast speaks, commending Morning Wine Elegy for his clever plan. With a predatory grin, Morning Wine Elegy accepts the challenge, declaring, "But next, your opponent will be me." On the ground, Yang Cheng watches in disbelief, deciding it's much safer to just play dead. The White Wolf King's eye narrows, reflecting the image of its defiant new challenger. The summoned wolf pack closes in, a sea of fangs and claws ready to tear him apart. But Morning Wine Elegy is completely unfazed, dismissing the threat with a simple statement, "You're just wolves." A terrifying blue aura erupts around him as he roars, "But I am a tiger!" He unleashes his skill, and a massive spectral tiger of pure energy leaps from his body, slamming into the pack and instantly crushing one of the lesser wolves under its power. The White Wolf King retaliates instantly, firing twin beams of searing energy from its eyes. The attacks streak through the air with impossible speed. And for the first time, Morning Wine Elegy's confidence wavers, realizing the beast's speed is far beyond what he can handle. But the wolf is even faster, lunging forward with its ultimate skill, Steel Peak Claw. With no time to evade, Morning Wine Elegy braces for the hit, yelling that he's going all out. Gulinger watches in horror, The blow connects, shattering his shield and carving off a huge chunk of his health. But even as blood drips from his mouth, Morning Wine Elegy just smirks. He taunts the beast. "You think I couldn't dodge that?" "It was all a feint. If I dodged, I wouldn't have been able to lock onto you." His two clones appear, unleashing their synchronized ultimate, 7-star flaming arrow. A storm of golden energy rains down from the sky, blanketing the entire area in a series of devastating explosions. But when the smoke clears, Morning Wine Elegy is on the ground, exhausted, and the White Wolf King is standing over him, completely unfazed. Spitting blood, he glares up at the beast. "Enjoying it?" And it turns out the attack wasn't completely ineffective. It took off over 1,000 of the beast's HP. But the intelligent beast scoffs, revealing it's already set up illusion traps all around them. Running away is impossible. Undeterred, Morning Wine Elegy pops a consumable. Let's see who outlasts whom now. The wolf's eye glows with malice. And then in a blur of motion, it vanishes. An invisibility spell? He wonders, completely caught off guard. But it's not magic, it's pure terrifying speed. The beast slams into him, dealing a devastating blow. As his world turns upside down, he remembers. This is the same lightning-fast attack that wiped out that other party. Before he can even recover, the wolf vanishes once more. He braces for impact, as the beast unleashes a furious high-speed barrage from all sides. Each hit lands with explosive force. Coughing, Morning Wine Elegy realizes the wolf's strategy. He's not giving me any chance to heal. The beast looms over him, preparing to strike again. It lunges forward for the finishing blow, but lands right in the middle of a glowing magical circle. The trap is triggered. With a smirk, Morning Wine Elegy reveals his plan. "Your teleportation is impressive, but it's only good for close-range combat. I just had to set a trap right beneath me. Now," he declares, loosing an arrow, "it's my turn." The arrow lands a solid hit, but the beast just snarls in fury. With a deafening roar, it shatters the magical chains holding it down. And in a flash, it claws Morning Wine Elegy, dealing a massive 800 damage. But even as he spits blood, our hero smirks. "I knew traps wouldn't be able to restrain you. That's why I didn't dodge. I used my body to keep you in place. 3 seconds, that's all I need." As the wolf looks up, it sees not one but 3 figures floating above it. He took the hit on purpose, to ensure the beast was perfectly positioned for the real trap. Morning Wine Elegy and his clones draw back, unleashing their ultimate skill, 7-star flaming arrow. With a final chilling command, he lets the volley fly. Die! 21 flaming arrows rain down in a synchronized apocalyptic volley. Elsewhere in the forest, 2 other players are planning their next hunt. But before they can move, a cataclysmic explosion rocks the entire zone. They stare in disbelief. A mushroom cloud? Is someone using a nuke hack? Back at Ground Zero, Gulinger can only watch in absolute awe. The White Wolf King lies defeated in a massive crater, its health all but gone. "Big Brother won!" she cheers. But Morning Wine Elegy is already analyzing his performance, noting that 9 of his arrows missed their mark. He's not celebrating, he's calculating how to be even more perfect next time. Gulinger urges him to land the final blow, but as he heals, he calmly tells her, "Don't rush, we're not done yet." Because he knows someone is still watching. The kidnapper in the cat hoodie, still playing dead, wonders what happened. He decides to keep up the act, completely unaware he's the something left to do. The kidnapper sits up in disbelief, asking if he actually killed the Wolf King. Morning Wine Elegy coolly replies, "Pretty much. He's barely hanging on." Instantly, the tough guy act vanishes, and he's on his knees, groveling and begging for his life. Morning Wine Elegy offers to spare him, even dangling the wolf's experience points as a reward, and the kidnapper's eyes light up with hope. But of course, there's a catch. He needs a favor, a task he can't reveal just yet, promising to find a way to inform him when the time comes. And to seal the deal, he shoves his crossbow right in the kidnapper's face, demanding an answer. But this isn't just about a random player, it's part of Mr. Shen's grander scheme. He knows Xiao Tiankai will soon move against him in the real world, and he needs pawns to buy time. Because in 6 months, the game becomes reality, and he needs to be ready. The kidnapper, however, is smarter than he looks. He calls the bluff, pointing out that an immediate yes would just get him killed. Morning Wine Elegy cracks a knowing smirk. He respects the hustle, admitting that an unconditional agreement can't be trusted. He adds that he'd never rely on someone who isn't greedy. Seeing he's dealing with a fellow schemer, the kidnapper grins, ready to talk real business. The kidnapper lays out his terms. Help him become the new leader of the Green Snake Gang, and he'll be the perfect pawn. Without another word, Morning Wine Elegy turns and unleashes a final, devastating punch on the downed White Wolf King. A massive explosion of light erupts from the impact. The beast is completely vaporized. With the deed done, he looks back coldly and says, "Deal." The kidnapper is instantly showered in rewards, rocketing from level 8 to 10 and earning the Wolf Slayer title. Overjoyed, he thanks his new big brother profusely as Morning Wine Elegy calmly collects all the loot. But Morning Wine Elegy cuts him off, stating coldly that he doesn't take little brothers. His eyes narrow as he delivers a chilling threat. If this new pawn ever uses his name for anything disgraceful, he will make him wish he was never born. Thoroughly terrified, the kidnapper immediately swears absolute loyalty, vowing to serve him until death. With his new pawn secured, Morning Wine Elegy calls out to a startled Gu Linger, telling her it's time to leave. He gives his new subordinate one final order: wait for his signal. As they walk away, the newly minted gang leader vows to repay this kindness in the future. But as they travel, Gu Linger suddenly declares that she's made up her mind and proposes marriage on the spot, calling him husband. Morning Wine Elegy completely loses his cool, yelling that she's just an NPC kid and ordering her to stop. Refusing to be called a kid, she latches onto his shoulder and bites down hard. Holding the furious girl at arm's length, he finally relents just to get her to stop so he can check his hard-earned loot. The first drop is a pair of silver-grade white wolf pants, which grant a massive 100% speed boost at full health. He equips them instantly, feeling the surge of power as his movement speed doubles. Next up are the steel wolf claws, a silver-grade assassin weapon that boosts critical damage and grants a teleporting surprise attack skill. He dismisses the new weapon as trash, leaving Gu Linger completely baffled. But the final drop is a rare quest item, and he recognizes its potential value. It's more than valuable. It's a legendary summoning skill that lets him call 2 phantom wolf minions into battle. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he realizes he can finally run a summoner build, learning the skill instantly. The rest of the loot is just a mountain of currency, adding to his already immense wealth. Meanwhile, back at the village, Lady Gu is absolutely frantic with worry. She tears into the village chief, blaming her for letting her daughter go on a suicide mission against the Wolf King. But right on cue, Morning Wine Elegy and Gu Linger stroll back into the clearing. Lady Gu rushes to embrace her daughter, who happily tells her that her new brother protected her perfectly. To complete the quest, Morning Wine Elegy casually tosses the massive wolf pelt to the stunned village chief. The village chief is genuinely impressed, her sly grin confirming that he is no ordinary person. She hands over the map to the intermediate dungeon, warning him that it's a high-level zone, but the rewards for the hidden map will be worth the risk. Unfazed, Morning Wine Elegy simply says, "Don't worry." But as he turns to leave, a sad Gu Linger asks if he's really going. He smirks, teasingly asking if she wants to tag along. That's the last straw for Lady Gu, who swoops in and accuses him of flirting with her daughter. Gu Linger struggles against her mom, screaming that she wants to go with her brother. Flustered and furious, Lady Gu just tells him to get lost. But he's not done yet. He turns back to the village chief, pointing out that a rare wolf pelt is worth far more than a single stingy map. She grumbles that he's just taking advantage of her. Morning Wine Elegy coolly replies that he's just asking for fair compensation, since they won't hand over good items unless he pushes them a little. He then guilt-trips her, asking if this is how she rewards a wolf-slaying hero, and she finally cracks, tossing him the reward and telling him to get lost. With a satisfied smirk, he accepts his prize. And what a prize it is, the epic skill Power Strike.
He can't hide his greedy grin, impressed that she was hiding such a treasure.
He immediately tests out his new ability, unleashing a massive wave of energy that tears through the terrain. The village chief is stunned it could pierce a hill from so far away, but he just smirks, reminding her it's an epic skill. As he walks away, Lady Gu mutters that at least he's not a complete capitalist, calling him a brat and vowing to see him again. He glances back with a cryptic smile, telling her to remember to grow up. With his business concluded, Morning Wine Elegy activates his new gear, leaving a trail of stunned players in his wake. Gu Linger can only scream after him in frustration. He travels to the suburbs, following the map he acquired. His journey leads him to a massive waterfall, and beyond it, the gleaming metropolis of Roy City. He smirks, his meta-knowledge already cataloging the treasures hidden within. He recalls his past life, where he started out poor and missed every opportunity, forced to grind for 2 months only to find the city's best loot already taken. But this time is different. He knows where every secret is, and more importantly, he knows the game's ultimate prize, the ability to bring his power back to the real world. With a cold glint in his eye, he reaffirms his vow. Shao Tiankai will suffer double the pain he was forced to endure. But before conquering the city, Morning Wine Elegy has a more practical goal, clearing his inventory and turning his loot into cash. He arrives at the bustling auction house, the perfect place to offload his gear. The massive crowd is a good sign. More people means more bidders, and he needs to sell fast before the NPC stores open and prices plummet. An attendant approaches, and he gets straight to the point. He's here to sell. She directs him to the registration desk, explaining the 10% handling fee and asking a crucial question. Does he want to hide his identity? He considers it. While he's not afraid of attention, he can't be bothered with endless party invites and guild requests. Anonymity is the smarter play. Soon, the auctioneer calls for the next seller to the stage. The crowd buzzes with anticipation. A charismatic elf-like player takes the spotlight to present her items. Morning Wine Elegy watches from the crowd, just another face among the sea of players, all eager to see what's on offer. She presents her first item, the Ring of Greed, a bronze-quality accessory that boosts luck, drop rate, and money earned. The crowd scoffs, dismissing it as junk worth a few silver coins. But Morning Wine Elegy recognizes its name instantly. His eyes widen. He remembers this item. It's extremely rare with only 2 possible grades, bronze and diamond. He knows the diamond version is a game-breaking artifact, and with his Ionic evolution, he can upgrade it. As the bidding starts at a pathetic 30 silver coins, the auctioneer calls the low price. But just as he's about to close the bid, a voice from the crowd shouts, "1 gold coin!" The other players are stunned. Who would pay gold for a piece of bronze junk? Morning Wine Elegy doesn't hesitate, raising the bid 10-fold. 10 gold coins! The room erupts in chaos. The price is insane. But the first bidder, a mysterious man in a straw hat, just smirks. He knows exactly what he's bidding on. Morning Wine. Elegy is shocked. He realizes his rival must also know the ring's true value. But he doesn't care. With cold determination, he shouts, 30 gold coins! The crowd gasps at the bid, but his rival just scoffs. He instantly raises the bid to a staggering 50 gold coins. He turns to Morning Wine Elegy with a taunting smirk, challenging the depth of his pockets. Morning Wine. Elegy doesn't even flinch, doubling the price without a second thought. 100 gold coins! The entire auction house falls silent. The auctioneer is in a frenzy, screaming the unbelievable price. Going once, going twice. The man in the straw hat can only watch in disbelief, completely outplayed. The auctioneer makes the final call, confirming the ranger won't make it. And with a mighty slam of the gavel, the deal is done. The Ring of Greed is his. Morning Wine Elegy equips the artifact, smirking as he calculates the immense profits its evolution will soon bring. As he turns to leave, the mysterious man in a straw hat walks past, grudgingly admitting, "Kid, you've got guts!" But his admiration quickly turns into a threat. "I'll remember you," he vows, his eyes glowing with a dark promise. Morning Wine Elegy scoffs, wondering who would hold a grudge over a simple auction. His thoughts are interrupted by a single word. It's the charismatic elf-like player, the ring's original owner, who drapes herself over him and purrs, "Tonight, you're mine." He's completely thrown off, utterly confused by her declaration. She coyly explains that his insane bid couldn't have been for the junk ring, it must have been for her, leaving Morning Wine Elegy looking absolutely disgusted. He shoves her away, completely disgusted by her delusional assumption. With a cold glare, he pushes her hand off his chest. But she's persistent, leaning in close to whisper that she'll serve him well tonight. She promises an experience with no real-world consequences. But Morning Wine Elegy isn't listening. His mind is already back on his rival, analyzing why the man in the hat also knew the ring's true value. He suddenly grabs her, assessing her like a piece of equipment and coolly stating that she can follow him later. She completely misreads the situation, blushing as she offers him a better experience. Their awkward exchange is interrupted by a shady-looking old man in a dark hood who appears right behind him. Morning Wine. Elegy jumps back, startled, as the old man grins and offers to show him some good things. His interest piqued, he agrees to see the man's wares, leaving the charismatic elf-like player fuming in the background. The shady old man internally gloats, thinking he's found a naive rich kid to swindle. He presents his wares, a collection of mostly low-tier bronze gear and a single silver bow. Morning Wine Elegy looks on with utter disgust, thinking the items are complete garbage. The old man tries to sell him the silver bow for an absurd 2,000 gold, but Morning Wine Elegy flatly refuses. His friendly facade shatters as he explodes in rage. He grabs Morning Wine Elegy by the collar, threatening to teach him a lesson. The old man snarls, giving him an ultimatum, buy his junk or get a beating. But he's picked the wrong target. Morning Wine. Elegy's eyes glow with cold fury as he asks, "You're asking for death?" Before he can act, the charismatic elf-like player steps in, telling the old man to back off. She coolly reminds him that private deals are forbidden here, and that the auction house security has been watching them this whole time. And just like that, a very muscular bunny girl security guard appears, followed by a towering knight who roars at the swindler, calling him an ignorant fool. Morning Wine Elegy watches, thinking that if fighting wasn't forbidden here, he'd have already sent the old man to the respawn point. With the situation handled, he turns to the elf-like player. "Since you belong to me tonight," he says. You'll do whatever I say, right? She completely falls for it, blushing as she eagerly agrees. He lays out his plan. She'll stay and watch the auction for him with a critical mission to buy every single refining chip that appears. She's stunned. You want me to camp the auction house? He butters her up with flattery, telling her that with her looks no one would dare compete with her for bids. She's internally fuming, offended that the great Triple Diao Chan is being asked to do grunt work. No way, she thinks. But when he offers to pay her extra for her trouble, her resolve crumbles instantly, and she asks where she can find him when the job is done. Don't worry about it, Morning Wine Elegy says coolly over his shoulder. I'll come find you. Triple Diao Chan is completely smitten, swooning that a confident, rich, and handsome guy is just the best. With his agent secured, he walks off, his meta-knowledge confirming his plan. Refining chips are a key material that most players currently treat as junk. But that's only part of the puzzle. He knows the final step is to upgrade his gear. He arrives at a workshop with a loud thud. Inside, he finds a burly blacksmith having a complete and utter meltdown. The man is curled up in a corner, sobbing that his hammer is gone and his life is over without it. A voice cuts through his despair. Yo! Morning Wine Elegy stands before him, holding a massive, ornate hammer. Looking for this? The blacksmith's despair instantly turns to manic joy, screaming, Yes, exactly! How did you find it? Overjoyed, the blacksmith raises his hammer high, shouting his thanks. To show his gratitude, he offers to upgrade any piece of Morning Wine Elegy's gear for free. This was all part of the plan. Morning Wine Elegy's meta-knowledge told him this hidden quest not only offered a free upgrade, but also access to a vendor for low-level materials. With a grin, he hands over his bow, asking the blacksmith to max it out so he can skip the tedious grind for monster parts. The blacksmith roars his approval. 20 minutes later, Morning Wine Elegy waits with a confident smirk. The blacksmith calls out, Brother, it's done! Surprised by the speed, Morning Wine Elegy eagerly asks to see the result. The blacksmith explains he could only get it to level 10 due to a lack of materials, but as Morning Wine Elegy holds the glowing bow, he can already feel the difference. He's not worried, coolly stating that level 10 is more than enough since he'll be switching to a new weapon soon anyway. With his business concluded, Morning Wine Elegy leaves the city. He considers his next move, noting that the Roy City area has a boss-level cap of 60, making it too dangerous for now. But just as he decides to wait for his evolution skill to cool down, an arrow is knocked in the shadows. A blinding bolt of energy streaks through the forest, aimed directly at his head. With a grunt of effort, Morning Wine Elegy twists away, the force of the blast grazing his cheek. The arrow slams into a tree, leaving a glowing crystal embedded in the wood. Turning to face his ambusher, he calmly says, You're amazing. The attacker steps out of the shadows. It's the mysterious man in a straw hat from the auction, shocked that his ambush failed. Morning Wine Elegy recognizes him instantly, coolly confirming that he was his rival from the bidding war. The Straw Hat Man smirks. A misunderstanding? Sorry, it's too late now. Morning Wine Elegy remains stone-faced, challenging him. So what do you want to do? With a scoff, the man lets out a sharp whistle. On his signal, 3 more figures emerge from the shadows surrounding their target. Morning Wine Elegy is caught off guard. But in a shocking twist, the largest armored figure suddenly grabs one of his own allies by the hair, yanking her into the air as she screams in pain. The ambush immediately collapses into chaos as the armored figure betrays his team, grabbing Triple Diao Chan and yelling at the Straw Hat Man, Hey, why are you grabbing her? She still has work to do for me. Unfazed, the Straw Hat Man turns his attention back to Morning Wine Elegy, sneering, 100 gold coins for a piece of bronze? Since you're so rich, why not share your gear with my brothers? Held tight, Triple Diao Chan desperately explains, Sorry, the money and the refining chips, they were all stolen. A flashback reveals the truth. The shady old man from the auction house had cornered her, snarling, You think just because you won't buy my stuff I can't get your money? Back in the present, the armored figure's rage explodes. Calling you a bitch just now for ruining my plan, he roars, brutally kicking her to the forest floor. The shady old man smirks, approaching his leader. Oh, we meet again, big boss. Morning Wine. Elegy's voice cuts through the tension, cold and sharp. She's helping me tonight, so she's with me now. He narrows his eyes. Rob me, I don't care, but you will not lay a hand on my people in front of me. The entire crew, the armored boss, the shady old man, and another female accomplice, stare back, completely unmoved. The Straw Hat Man laughs maniacally. Hitting people? That's nothing. Now we'll put on a real show for you. The armored boss looms over Triple Diao Chan, grabbing her to drag her back to her feet. As the armored boss moves in, Triple Diao Chan screams in terror, but he's too late. Morning Wine. Elegy's eyes blaze with cold blue light. A cage of crackling energy erupts from the ground, trapping the entire ambush party in an instant. The Straw Hat Man is caught completely off guard. A powerful strike illuminates the entire forest. Morning wine. Elegy draws his bow, his voice dripping with venom. Die, you scum! But the Straw Hat Man is already moving, leaping through the air to intercept the attack. Don't even think of using that move! His blades slam into the energy field, creating a blinding explosion of light. He's shocked by the sheer force of the blow. With a furious slash, he tears through the energy, but the battle has just begun. Morning Wine Elegy looks down on him with utter contempt. You're too slow. The female ambusher is in complete shock. No way! The Straw Hat Man stumbles back, reeling from the impact. Thinking their leader has fallen, the armored boss roars, You beast! How dare you kill our companion! Chop him to pieces! But Morning Wine Elegy is already preparing his next move, a glint of power in his hand. The remaining ambushers hesitate, confused by the turn of events. He activates his skill and a massive spectral clone, his phantom, materializes on the battlefield. Before they can even process what's happening, the phantom clone unleashes a devastating energy arrow. It streaks across the field in a blinding flash, and slams directly into the armored boss and the shady old man, tearing right through them. The two ambushers are left screaming on the forest floor, completely neutralized. The Straw Hat Man, however, is completely unfazed, even impressed. Amazing! I never expected you to be this strong. He casually dismisses his fallen comrades as expendable small fry and introduces himself as Shibusha, fifth on the server ladder, revealing he's already used a skill to analyze his opponent. Morning Wine Elegy is not impressed. Then what do you want to say? With a confident smirk, Shibusha reveals his hand. If I'm not mistaken, you must be the ladder's #1 Chaoju Wange. That's me, Morning Wine Elegy confirms without a hint of emotion. In a surprising gesture of peace, Shibusha tosses over the stolen gold and refining shards. Morning Wine Elegy catches the bag, accepting the truce. Shibusha then makes his real proposal. Let's form an alliance. With our power, we can make tons of money and have countless women to enjoy. But Morning Wine Elegy coldly shuts him down. Sorry, I'm not interested in that sort of thing, leaving Shibusha stunned. Then what do you want? With a chilling smile, Morning Wine Elegy reveals his one true desire, revenge. As he walks away, a frustrated Shibusha calls out, Fine, I'll wait for you to change your mind. But Morning Wine Elegy stops. Hey, he says coldly, did I say you could leave yet? Shibusha turns, completely caught off guard. Suddenly, a massive flaming arrow slams into the ground right in front of him. Thrown back with a bleeding leg, he screams in shock, Who ambushed me? The attacker is revealed. Morning Wine Elegy's phantom clone, bow still raised. Your clone? Shibusha stammers in disbelief. Desperate, he tries to de-escalate. Bro, there's no need for this. If you kill me, you'll get a red name. He presses on. Do you know the cost of having a red name? In silent response, Morning Wine Elegy's clone simply dissipates into thin air. But as the first clone vanishes, a second, massive one materializes behind Morning Wine Elegy. He rises, now flanked by two clones, all three drawing their bows as he asks coldly, So what if I get a red name? Do you know the type of people I hate the most? Shibusha can only stammer, What? With eyes burning with cold fury, Morning Wine Elegy answers, The scumbags who betray their teammates, just like my enemies. As a single tear of pure rage escapes his eye, Shibusha begins to plead, What? Wait a second. But it's too late. The arrows fly and Shibusha is vaporized in a massive explosion, his screams echoing through the forest. A server-wide announcement confirms the kill. Morning Wine Elegy now has a red name and a 50,000 gold bounty on his head. The news spreads instantly, leaving players across the server in absolute shock. The chat explodes as everyone realizes the #1 player just executed the #5. This guy is ruthless! And just like that, the massive bounty paints a target on his back, with every player killer guild in the game mobilizing for the hunt. Morning Wine Elegy scoffs at the system notification, disgusted by the game's hypocrisy. Triple Diao-chan watches him, confused by his calm demeanor and urging him to escape. She frantically warns him that his 50,000 gold bounty is comparable to a boss monster, and every player killer on the server will be after him. Unfazed, he stands at the edge of the crater he created, coolly stating he hasn't paid her for her help yet. He then hands her a glowing pouch containing 400 gold, leaving her completely stunned. Clutching the bag, she blushes and whispers that with just a little more, she can finally be free. The word free instantly catches his attention, and his expression sharpens. He presses her for information, demanding to know who is forcing her into these transactions. Hesitantly, she reveals that she's working for the Rising Sun Corporation. The name hits him like a lightning bolt, as Morning Wine Elegy realizes with utter shock that the culprits are part of his own real-world company. Overwhelmed, Triple Diao-chan apologizes, insisting she can't say anything more. She pleads with him not to ask any more questions. Seeing her distress, Morning Wine Elegy's expression hardens as he agrees not to force her. but in a shocking move, she suddenly leans in and kisses him on the cheek. The number 1 player is left completely stunned and blushing. With a seductive smile, she thanks him for his kindness, promising to repay him and calling him my hero. Then, with a quick goodbye, she runs off, leaving him to process what just happened. His mind races, connecting the Rising Sun Corporation to the one person he knows is monstrous enough to be behind this. His nemesis, Xiao Tiankai. A fiery power gathers in his hand as he vows to find out the truth as soon as he returns, and his rage erupts in a massive fiery explosion, a clear promise of the storm he's about to unleash. As the flames of his fury die down, Morning Wine Elegy stands alone, a storm of power still swirling around him. But his moment of reflection is cut short as he senses an approach, remarking with a smirk that his new fans have arrived quickly. An attack erupts from the trees, but he effortlessly deflects the blast, welcoming the chance to have some fun. From the shadows, a horde of players emerges, charging him with weapons drawn, all eager to claim the massive bounty on his head. Unimpressed, Morning Wine Elegy's eye crackles with lightning as he dismisses them as a bunch of fools seeking death. But just as the battle is about to begin, a familiar voice shouts, "Boss!" Before the kidnapper in the cat hoodie can explain, Morning Wine Elegy unleashes a torrent of electrical energy, sweeping through the crowd. Caught completely off guard, his new pawn can only watch in confusion. Morning Wine. Elegy turns on him, his blade crackling with power, coldly asking if he's here to settle accounts. The terrified pawn frantically waves his hands, insisting it's all a misunderstanding and that they were only there to help him. Thinking fast, the kidnapper in the cat hoodie screams at his men to show some respect and call Morning Wine Elegy Big Brother Big. Without hesitation, the entire group bows in unison, their voices echoing through the forest. But Morning Wine Elegy is not impressed, questioning what this bizarre display is all about. The pawn quickly explains his strategy. He's turned the Green Snake Gang into Morning Wine Elegy's personal security force, vowing to beat down anyone who dares approach. Morning Wine Elegy scoffs at his boldness, asking what he'd do if a real expert showed up. The pawn grins, explaining that even if he's defeated, he can still gather intel, because his new boss is the only real expert that matters. His words seem to get through. Morning Wine Elegy realizes this guy is surprisingly loyal, a quality that explains how he built his own gang in the first place. He accepts the gesture of loyalty but dismisses the help, stating that this is a mess he has to clean up himself. Still worried, the pawn offers him a secret place to hide from the bounty hunters. But Morning Wine Elegy refuses. He's not running. Instead, he's going to use this chaos to send a message to a new target, the Guan family. Morning Wine Elegy smirks, declaring that targeting the red-named Chao Wange is a gamble they can't afford. His new pawns are fired up, roaring their support and pledging to fight to the death for their mighty big brother. Meanwhile, another player locks onto a target through a digital interface. "Huh, so it's this guy, huh?" Hiding in the woods, a large bounty hunter watches Morning Wine Elegy's retreating figure, questioning the massive 50,000 gold bounty. Suddenly, a masked figure with glowing eyes appears directly behind him. "Hello?" Before the hunter can react, the figure explodes with power, slamming his fist into the ground. In another part of the forest, a man in red stands over a defeated foe, reporting his success to his leader. The kidnapper in the cat hoodie confirms to a silent Morning Wine Elegy that all the small fry have been taken care of. But a new threat is already watching. Reflected in a predatory glowing eye is a party of high-level players. A colossal white wolf with burning eyes emerges from the darkness, its gaze fixed on its new prey. The wolf watches a party of high-level players, completely oblivious to its presence. Morning Wine Elegy deduces that only the more skilled bounty hunters are left. He turns to his pawn, noticing his sudden tension. Elsewhere, a new hunter taunts the last survivor of another party, whose teammate is pinned to a tree. His partner, a man in a blue cat-eared hoodie, whistles and scoffs. "No way!" Just a whistle. Back with our duo, the kidnapper in the cat hoodie suddenly panics, screaming an apology to Morning Wine Elegy. He asks what their next move is, but his master simply whistles into the night. The sound summons a massive pack of forest wolves that immediately surrounds them. The kidnapper roars, his fists crackling with energy as he prepares to fight. But Morning Wine Elegy calmly stops him. He explains that he summoned the wolves himself to gather intelligence, as one of the beasts licks his hand like a loyal dog. The kidnapper is completely starstruck, calling his boss a one-man army. Morning Wine Elegy confirms that while the wolves are weak, their scouting ability is top tier, and their intel is chilling. Out of 76 bounty hunters, only 2 remain, leaving the kidnapper to wonder if they're the hunters or the hunted. But the numbers don't add up. The kidnapper knows his repurposed Green Snake Gang couldn't have eliminated that many skilled players. Morning Wine Elegy reveals the terrifying truth. It was my phantom that did it. In a flashback, we see his phantom clones unleashing hell upon the unsuspecting bounty hunters. The 2 spectral copies moved with perfect deadly coordination, overwhelming their targets with a barrage of energy arrows. The forest erupted in a cataclysmic explosion as the clones wiped the remaining hunters from the face of the server. The kidnapper is completely starstruck, stammering, "Big brother, you're amazing. It's just a shame my brothers didn't hold out." But Morning Wine Elegy offers no comfort, only cold, hard logic. Get stronger or you'll drag everyone down. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the silence as two new figures emerge from the woods. The last two survivors. The woman smirks. "Finding you, this red name, is really troublesome." Morning Wine Elegy activates a skill and instantly identifies his opponents. Cruel King, ranked 23rd, and Haiji, the 8th ranked player on the entire server. He scoffs, "No wonder you two managed to survive." Then, in a shocking move, he shoves his new pawn forward, ordering him to fight them alone. This isn't a battle. It's a test to see if his new piece is even worth keeping on the board. Terrified but resolute, the kidnapper accepts his master's command. Haiji sizes up Morning Wine Elegy, noting another ranger on the field and wondering whose arrow is faster. The kidnapper tries to put on a brave face, warning them to stay back. But Haiji isn't fooled, dismissing him as a mere dog sent to test her while the real expert watches from the back. Cruel King agrees, calling Morning Wine Elegy a coward and vowing to take his pawn's head. From the shadows, their target simply scoffs. Enraged by their arrogance, the kidnapper lets out a furious scream. He charges forward, declaring himself the leader of the Green Snake Gang, ready to teach them a lesson. But before he can even act, a massive shadow fist slams into him, crushing his body and wiping out a third of his health in a single blow. Haiji lowers her hand, a summoning card floating before her. "Shut up, you weakling," she sneers, revealing her terrifying power. But the kidnapper grits his teeth, refusing to be humiliated. He unleashes his hidden skill, transforming into a monstrous, rampaging giant. With a furious roar, the beast charges forward, swinging a massive fist straight at Haiji. Unfazed, Haiji calmly prepares another spell. The giant's electrified fist smashes into its target, but his face contorts in pure shock. His attack was completely stopped by a massive shadow giant that appeared from nowhere, leaving him stunned by its resilience. Haiji smirks, boasting that her summon's defense is absolute. This is the true power of a shadow summoner. Watching the stalemate from a distance, Morning Wine Elegy simply says, "Interesting." He calmly assesses the situation, admitting that her ability is indeed impressive. But Morning Wine Elegy was never the target, as he turns to face Cruel King, who has appeared behind him, and asks, "Do you agree with that?" Cruel King is stunned, realizing his epic-level teleportation skill was somehow detected. Before he can react, two of Morning Wine Elegy's phantom clones materialize and surround him. They grab him in an instant, slamming him violently into the ground. One clone pins the helpless hunter to the floor with its foot as Morning Wine Elegy orders him to be quiet. With a chilling glare, he promises to deal with Cruel King slowly after the main show is over. Even his pawn is stunned by the casual display of absolute dominance. Back on the main battlefield, the two giants clash in a massive explosion of purple energy that shakes the forest. The rampaging giant roars, its body transforming, becoming even more monstrous and beast-like. It unleashes a desperate, furious punch, smashing into the shadow giant's absolute defense. The sheer force of the shadow giant's defense sends the rampaging giant stumbling back, the ground cracking under the immense pressure. He can't believe it, admitting in shock that for the first time, he's been completely outmatched in pure strength. But refusing to accept defeat, he gathers his power for another assault. He slams his fists into the ground, drawing on the earth itself. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he realizes his advantage, boasting that luckily he's faster than it. With a roar, he encases his arms in massive stone gauntlets, transforming into a living siege engine. From a distance, Haiji's shadow giant scoffs, accusing him of playing dirty. But Haiji herself has appeared, perched on his new stone armor, calmly asking why he's risking his life like this. She offers a tempting deal. Team up with her to take down the red-named Morning Wine Elegy and split the massive 50,000 gold bounty. Her words only enrage him. He roars that he would never betray his brothers, declaring that Morning Wine Elegy is the big brother he's chosen to follow, a man of principle. Haiji sighs, her patience worn thin. "Fine. If you don't want to join, then don't. But opposing me is a bit much, don't you think?" With a cold smile, she declares, "Then I'll just send you back to the respawn point." Her shadow giant winds up, its massive stone fist crackling with dark energy as it prepares to strike. The two titans collide in a cataclysmic explosion of purple light. The shadow giant's monstrous face roars with fury, and the pawn is sent flying, his stone armor shattering under the immense force. He crashes to the ground, but Haiji is surprised he's still conscious. "To think you still have some breath left, fine." Bloodied but defiant, the pawn glares up at her, vowing, "Then let me show you how I will deal with him." But Haiji simply pins him to the ground with her foot, coldly ordering him not to move. From the sidelines, Morning Wine Elegy watches the entire exchange, his loyal pawn now utterly defeated. His master simply watches, his expression unreadable. Haiji's patience has run out. "You are really annoying," she snaps. With a final blast of energy, she sends the pawn flying once more. Her shadow giant looms over him, ready to finish the job. With a wicked grin, she gives the final order. "Shadow giant, crush him for me!" The colossal summon raises its fist for the finishing blow. But even now, the pawn refuses to give up, cursing his powerlessness. Suddenly, a flash of golden light slices through the air, intercepting the attack. Haiji can only stare in disbelief. No, impossible! Her invincible shadow giant has been defeated in a single move, leaving her to wonder, who exactly is he? Haiji whips around in terror. "When did you get behind me?" Morning Wine Elegy's voice is ice cold. Who else could it be? A terrifying blue aura erupts around him as he glares down at her. "Daring to treat my underling like this? Do you know what the price is?" From the ground, his loyal pawn cries out in relief, "Big brother!" Stunned by his immense pressure, Haiji demands, "Who are you? At your level, it's impossible to have such power." He asks if she really needs his bounty that badly, and she scoffs, "Of course it's my guild's startup fund." Purple energy swirls around her fist as she declares, "Moreover, it's about to go straight into my pocket." She unleashes her ultimate move, trapping him in a massive vortex of pure shadow energy. Haiji cackles, completely confident in her victory. "You can't escape my shadow swamp, you'll be dead in under 5 seconds." But inside the storm, Morning Wine Elegy is completely unfazed as his health ticks down. Interesting. He casually strolls out of the attack, leaving Haiji speechless. But not impressive enough. Morning Wine Elegy looms over her, his voice dripping with contempt. "Do you have any other tricks?" Haiji's brain completely short-circuits. He already knows everything, recalling that her guild was one of the strongest in his past life, and that his nemesis, Xiao Tiankai, only rose to power by leeching off her resources. Instead of killing her, he makes an offer. Double the money to form a guild for him, or an immediate trip to the respawn point. Seeing a golden opportunity, Haiji's confidence returns with a smirk. Then, "I'll definitely choose one." Morning Wine Elegy dismisses her, ordering her to form the Lingyun Guild with the funds he'll send later. Stunned by his casual display of wealth and power, she can only watch him go. "I hope you keep your word." With the 8th-ranked player now under his thumb, he turns to his loyal pawn, tossing him a recovery potion. The cat hoodie kid chugs it down, and in a flash of light, he's back on his feet, screaming, "Fully revived!" Morning Wine Elegy coldly orders his pawn, "Now that you've recovered, go finish the job." His target, the captured and helpless 23rd-ranked player, Cruel King. A wicked, gleeful grin spreads across the cat hoodie kid's face. He looms over his victim, taunting him for his earlier arrogance. With a ball of energy crackling in his hand, he delivers a final chilling warning. "Don't ever target my big brother again." Cruel King's pleas are cut short. And with the kill secured, the pawn's rank skyrockets from 26th all the way to 22nd on the server. Just then, Morning Wine Elegy is forcibly logged out, realizing he's been playing for 15 straight hours. Back in his VR pod, he reflects that his preparations are nearly complete. Tomorrow, he heads to Roy City. His next goal, level up, and then find a way to bring his sister into the game so they can dominate together. He even considers the class his sister should play, thinking back to the charismatic elf he met at the auction house. A fleeting memory, but he pushes the thought aside. First, there are more important matters to attend to in the real world. He immediately makes a call, summoning his subordinate Da Cheng to his office. Moments later, a man in a sharp suit arrives at his door. Da Cheng enters, asking what's so urgent. Mr. Shen's face is cold as he gives his command, "Investigate Xiao Tiankai's subordinates and dig up all their dirt." Da Cheng grins, thrilled to see the fire back in his boss's eyes. "All right, it's great to see you haven't given up." With his orders given, Mr. Shen waits, his plan for revenge now officially in motion. Da Cheng turns to leave, promising to collect the information right away. Alone, Mr. Shen takes a sip from his mug, muttering, "This is just the beginning." A wicked glint flashes in his eyes as he promises that the best is yet to come. His sister, Shenqing, appears at his door, asking what he's planning to do. The next day, as a maid helps him dress, he casually announces he's attending a board meeting, much to Shenqing's surprise. Overjoyed, she throws her arms around him, exclaiming that her motivated older brother is finally back. But her happiness quickly fades to concern, reminding him that since his incident, the board appointed Xiao Tiankai as the acting chairman. Mr. Shen is unfazed, revealing he already knows that keyboard members were bought off by his rival. He gently reassures his sister, explaining he's going this time to let them know he's still alive. A cold, confident smile spreads across his face as he vows to remind them who really has the final say in his company. Shenqing is left speechless, her concern for her brother evident. Meanwhile, at the company headquarters, a board meeting is already in session. Xiao Tiankai, the acting chairman, confidently calls for a vote on a new project. Two board members, Uncle Chi and Amber, immediately raise their hands in favor. One by one, the other members fall in line, giving their unanimous approval. Xiao Tiankai smirks, gloating internally about how easily he's manipulated the board, and officially greenlights the project. But a lone voice of dissent cuts through the celebration. Xiao Tiankai feigns surprise, condescendingly asking the dissenter, a man named Uncle Hai, why he's against the plan. Uncle Hai explodes in fury, declaring the project is madness that will ruin the company's reputation, and goes completely against the strategy Mr. Shen put in place. Xiao Tiankai coldly dismisses his concerns, calling Mr. Shen's strategy outdated and declaring that what they need now is absolute victory, before giving the old man a chilling ultimatum. Either support it, he snarls, his eyes glowing with menace, or get the hell out of here. But Uncle Hai slams his fist on the table, roaring that Xiao Tiankai had better stop his barking. One of the other board members tries to de-escalate, telling the old man to calm down and act his age. He coldly dismisses the outburst, stating that with a 7-1 vote, the project is passed. But just as he finalizes the decision, a powerful voice cuts through the room. I oppose. The board members turn in shock, as Xiao Tiankai's smug expression melts into pure disbelief. Mr. Shen, the true chairman has arrived, coolly asking from his wheelchair, What? Can't I come? I thought I was still the chairman? Xiao Tiankai quickly recovers, putting on a fake smile and claiming everyone is excited for his return, as the other members nervously agree. He continues the charade, patronizingly suggesting that Mr. Shen's health is the priority, and that he shouldn't have to trouble himself with such minor project decisions. But Mr. Shen cuts through the fake concern, declaring that since he still has veto power, the project is officially cancelled. The room explodes. The furious Uncle Chi is held back by the loyal Uncle Hai. He can only seethe in silent rage. Forced into a corner, Xiao Tiankai has no choice but to concede, agreeing to halt the vote. Mr. Shen knows he can't dismantle their entire power base at once, so he plays the part of a reasonable leader, telling Tiankai to simply come up with a different plan. With only Uncle Hai on his side, he knows he must be strategic. Announcing that he'll be dropping in occasionally, he makes his exit. But just before he's out the door, he calls back to his rival. Behind them, Uncle Chi makes a silent, threatening gesture. Xiao Tiankai watches him go, his face unreadable. But the second he's alone, his mask of composure shatters. Damn it, he roars. Why did that guy suddenly show up and ruin everything? Back in his lab, Xiao Tiankai's fury cools into a chilling resolve, declaring that if they're going to take what's his, they'll have to be ruthless. On the phone, one of his accomplices warns him that Mr. Shen has already set up thorough defensive measures, making another direct move difficult. But Xiao Tiankai is undeterred. I'll get him eventually, he snarls, but there's one thing I can do right now. His immediate target? The one man who dared to defy him at the meeting. That fat idiot needs to shut up! On a dark, rainy night, one of Xiao's assassins is on the move. In the backseat, his target, Uncle Hai, sits completely unaware. The assassin pulls out a high-tech pistol and fires a single fatal shot. As Uncle Hai slumps against the window, the killer looks on without a shred of emotion. Xiao Tiankai has sent his message. But the hit isn't clean. Uncle Hai's driver has seen the assassin's face. With ice in his veins, he realizes this is a professional ambush. Just then, a massive truck barrels out, blocking their only escape route. The truck's driver grins with psychotic glee, roaring for them to die. Uncle Hai, hold on tight, the driver screams, flooring the accelerator. He swerves hard, tires screeching on the wet pavement. The ambusher scoffs, mocking their desperate attempt to escape. But this is no ordinary driver. He steps out into the rain, revealing a high-tech weapon of his own. One shot is all it takes to shatter the truck's windshield. And in the next instant, the entire vehicle is consumed by a massive fireball. Inside the car, a shaken Uncle Hai realizes the truth. Xiao Tiankai, that bastard, he actually sent assassins after me. But his driver, Xiao Cheng, reveals the bigger picture. He was sent by President Shen himself. Fueled by rage, Uncle Hai swears vengeance. Miles away, Mr. Shen receives a simple text. Uncle Hai is safe. His real-world move complete, he turns his attention back to the game. With a smirk, he puts on his headset, declaring, It's my turn to perform now. He logs in, arriving at the dazzling high-level metropolis of Roy City. But as soon as he materializes, he's bombarded by system alerts. He glances around, unimpressed, as expected. His path forward is blocked. Under the full moon, the city gates are sealed tight. Thanks to his meta-knowledge, he knows there are only two ways in. The first is to sneak through a back entrance, fighting high-level trolls but skipping the main story. The second is to follow the main quest and help defend the city against the nightly demon army assault. Doing so would earn him an invitation to join the Roy City Guard and unlock the hidden map, Demon's Nest. Inside, he can farm for incredible rewards, including the coveted Golden Tier Demon Guard set. The choice is obvious. First, the Demon Guard set, then I'll level up. Just then, a system notification appears. His evolution skills are off cooldown. A wicked grin spreads across his face. Perfect! If I upgrade this item to diamond quality, the profits will put me leagues ahead of everyone else. Without hesitation, he summons his 2 phantom clones. He then has one clone use its Ionic evolution talent on the other. But there's no response. He theorizes the ring might only have 2 qualities, bronze and diamond. He pushes forward, ordering his clones to continue evolving. Suddenly the ring cracks. Doubt creeps in. If this fails, it's a massive loss, and he needs every advantage he can get in the dangerous city of Roy. But the potential reward is too great. Success means he'll never lack resources again. With his resolve steeled, he commits, unleashing the final evolution. It's a spectacular success. The greed ring is now diamond quality, with insane stats, plus 150 luck, double item drops, and a 100% increase in money gained. A triumphant grin spreads across his face. Great! I made the right bet! With his ultimate farming tool secured, he settles in to wait. Everything is ready. Now I just have to wait until midnight. And right on cue, the clock strikes 12. Outside the walls of Roy, a monstrous army gathers under the moonlight. Perched on a cliff, Morning Wine Elegy hears the rumble. Finally, it's starting. Inside the city, the defenders stand ready for battle. Their commander rallies the troops, his voice echoing with resolve. The first demon makes its presence known, its colossal foot shaking the very ground. A grotesque horde of high-level demons emerges from the forest, a terrifying sight for any normal player. But for Morning Wine Elegy, this is a golden opportunity. The biggest one is level 30. Perfect. With a final command, the city commander leads the charge to defend his home. The battle erupts in a chaotic clash of steel and monster hide. Morning Wine Elegy continues to observe, noting the unusual intensity of the NPC forces. Hopefully, they can hold their own. His plan is simple and ruthless. Let the NPCs do all the work, then swoop in at the last second to steal the boss kill and all the loot. On the battlefield, the city commander roars, cleaving through the demonic horde. His powerful shockwave sends monsters flying, but even he is starting to show signs of strain. A massive demon retaliates, unleashing a devastating beam of purple energy. The commander's face contorts with rage. "You beast!" Glowing with golden power, he charges forward, screaming, "Die!" But the colossal demon stomps the ground, and with a single overwhelming blow smashes the commander into the dirt. His soldiers cry out in despair as their leader is defeated. "General!" From his perch, Morning Wine Elegy sees the tide turn. Wait, what's this? His meta-knowledge is failing him. This isn't how it was supposed to go. If that NPC dies, his future plans are ruined. He has no choice but to step in. With no time to waste, he draws his bow, a flaming arrow nocked and ready. The shot flies true, striking the demon's hand just as it's about to deliver the final blow. Its attack deflected, the colossal beast turns its furious gaze towards the cliff. Morning Wine. Elegy smirks, already preparing his next move. Let's see you take this one. He unleashes a devastating blast that engulfs the demon in a pillar of fire. The city commander, saved from certain death, can only stare in disbelief. Who are you? But the mysterious savior doesn't answer, standing silhouetted against the fiery chaos. Instead, he gives a single cold command. Take action! He unleashes a volley of arrows that multiply in midair, raining down like a meteor shower upon the demon horde. The battlefield erupts in a cataclysmic explosion. Demons are torn apart and vaporized in the raging inferno. In a single overwhelming attack, the entire demon army is annihilated. The city commander, completely awestruck, approaches Morning Wine Elegy. Amazing! You defeated them all on your own. Take this as your reward. He opens the box and a brilliant golden light pours out. What is it? His eyes widen as a greedy, ecstatic grin spreads across his face. Holy shit, this is... Inside lies the legendary Heart of the Warrior, an item that can transfer its attributes to reality.
My friend, unfortunately, this is where the first season of this manhwa comes to an end. Right now, there's no official release date for the continuation, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long. And as soon as new chapters drop, we'll immediately continue the story here on the channel. In the meantime, make sure to check out the other videos. There are plenty of awesome stories here that you'll definitely enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like and drop a comment. It really helps support the channel. Thank you so much for watching.